Uh, Good morning at all the participants and all the centers. I think we are still to be connected by two centers more, three centers more. But in any case, we will be starting the session as today being the last day. We have some very fixed slots. So for this session, I will like to welcome Dr. S.L. Dhingra, who is an adjunct professor at IIT Mumbai, and he has been working in the area of transportation infrastructure, land use, and other issues related to this thing. So we are I think it was a great opportunity for us to have him here, since he was here in some other connection. So I requested him to deliver a talk for our participants also. So and the topic he has basically selected for today's presentation is on city beautification projects. I think this is a very relevant topic, seeing our government's initiatives on smart cities and Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, etc. So I think we require a lot of inputs that how to go about this thing and what are the issues involved and other concerns. So sir, I welcome you for this session on ICT program on sustainable environment management, and which is being mainly conducted through this ICT mode. And we have about 7 centers connected at locations in Rajasthan, UP, Jammu Kashmir, and Haryana. And maybe if we have, because we would like to finish this session as early as possible by quarter to I think by 10:45, right? 10:30, yeah, 10:30 to, I think 10:30 is a ideal time because we have to go reach there also. So right, so welcome, sir.
Friends, it's my pleasure, and I'm thankful to Dr. Sharma for giving me this opportunity to talk to you on this very important topic of city beautification projects. Uh, because I'm talking from Chandigarh at the moment, so I think I will more depend upon Chandigarh itself and then other cities which I have tried to study in details and plan for these cities, on in this direction. Now we'll go like this: introduction, beautification of the city, case studies, roadside amenities, traffic management, traffic control devices, parking management, conclusions and references. Now I will start with the city with well known Nanded. Pilgrimage center, one of the 5-6 cities located there, famous Gurdwara at Nanded and all that, and all the details. But why am I talking about this city? Because I was invited to do a talk on beautification of Nanded city. So then I thought, what will I talk about beautification of any city? Beautification, first when we say beautification, how you define beauty itself is very difficult thing. So then I asked these people, and particularly ladies, because how you define beauty? Or anybody is sick, beauty is the eyes of the beholder when they started wearing that. But then whatever the city should become really livable. Livable city, walkable city, and really beautiful city, so that people can enjoy a good quality of life. That is the purpose of any city beautification project. This is Nanded city, and it's on Godavari river, and this is to be planned. It's sort of a radial structure and all that. Now, when I visited this, when I was to give a talk in Mahatma Gandhi Mission College of Engineering, and before that I visited the city, and then I found that there are no trees in the city at all. Then that is the point. I can start from there. See, and then of course I had also studied the traffic transportation point of view, how easy it is to move around the city. So that's why I thought of studying, went all to the junctions and the links and all that, and found that it is really congested city. So in any city of the world, there will be 5, 6 problems of transportation, right, particularly with respect to movement, maybe congestion, pollution, parking, safety, security, energy consumption, technology, and all that. So those things one has to improve upon so that the city becomes really livable. So then I will talk about further I mean, I immediately told them, come out with a plantation of trees, and that you have to design in a manner that you get flowering trees or fruit trees in all the seasons. So, like we have done in Chandigarh, that is the color scheme designed. Dr. Randhawa designed the color scheme of the trees in the city, so that in all the seasons you can get flowers, and these should be very hygienic and like that sort of thing. So then I said, okay, planting trees, that is one on the roadside, then provide good footpaths, then maybe flowering beds, and then you have benches on the side and umbrellas so that people can sit under the shade and all that, and then only it will become beautiful. And of course, whenever we are making this thing like this, and of course you have to put junctions and links and all that, and typically so this type of thing one has to do that, and afterwards you have to enforce it. With every city in India, we cannot enforce it, so we have to really enforce it. That's, I think, I give a credit to Chandigarh. I mean, so far they have been enforcing all these things, and then no urban development or anything like slums coming up. That is checked at least, and they are moved to outside the city and again further and further like that. So these enforcement measures are very. I mean, talk further in detail about Chandigarh. I'll give what are these further. No, Chandigarh itself, the city beautiful. When you go to Google and put, the city beautiful, you come to Chandigarh. Now, Chandigarh, of course, is the capital of the two states, Punjab and Haryana. And Luke Abuze produced a plan for Chandigarh. He designed it as a organic city. When he came here, he said that I want to really design as a human being, that is with the head, arms, feet, and tummy and all that, so that it can really survive sustainable like that. So he put head as the capital complex, arms maybe, and then Vidyapath and like that. The industrial area became the feet of this one, so that and then definitely when we put any industry anywhere, afterwards it gets polluted. So in between industrial area and the city, he provided 4 rows of mango trees, beautiful mango trees, and very small stature height of this one, and so that the pollution from the industrial area will not come to the city. So this type of thing one has to do. Then planning of this, I mean, the city, he divided into sectors, and these sectors are really, every sector is a walkable type of sector. That is, it's half mile by 3 by 4 mile. That is the size of the city, so that it becomes, and all amenities, day-to-day use of the facilities are provided within the sector. Of course, there are other beautification things like rock garden and IT park and other things. These are provided. Those are for further attraction. Maybe rose garden, rock garden, all these things are provided. And like that. Now, if you see any sector, this is, as I said, 8 half mile by or 800 meters by 1200 meters sector. And this sector is very specially provided in the sense that no house is facing the fast road. Fast road is around the sector. Okay, and then it is to be seen that no house will be facing the main road. And then of course he provided 7 different types of roads in the city, starting from Vine 1 to Vine 7, V1 to V7, and then And the last one, V7, will be the bicycle track which he provided from the Secretariat going through the leisure valleys and down to the south. So that type of thing is provided without any interference with the traffic. Again, I mean, all these type of things, 7 different types of roads he provided. And even see, because this Le Corbusier was a French architect, and so they don't believe that is set number 13 is a, not ominous. And then he said that okay, he didn't provide sector 13 in Chandigarh, so maybe all other sector, but for Indians naturally, 13 is a very good number, very lucky number. Why it is lucky? Because all our festivals fall on 13. Maybe 13 January, 13 February, and then 13 April is Vaishak. So for that, I think it should have been provided, but then because he was French architect, he didn't give the sector 13. Even plantation of trees, like if the road is running east west, and then you have to plant trees. Now, which side of the tree? We want to minimize the number of trees again, but again, we should give shades to the road, the people who are walking on the roadside. So naturally, we thought of providing the trees on the southern side. The reason was, I mean, nature. We have to take advantage of the nature. Now the sun moves from east to west via south. One should know that. So naturally, there will be any house or any road, I mean, any tree, you have to provide shielded from the south side. The southern side is always hot. So northern side, if you are having a house, that will be always good. So that's why you can provide trees very safely on the southern side of the road, so an east-west road. So that is another type of thing, provided. And then he said, like Secretariat and High Court and all these provided in the capital complex. Now that one, Uttar Marg, Northern Avenue, when you say, and he believed that if a person moves with a car or a vehicle at a speed of about 50-60 kilometers per hour, and then he looks to the left side, that is from west to east is moving, looks to the left side, the Secretariat is appearing like coming out of the hills, because backside there are hills. So and he provided perpendicular to this one to the hills, so that the view of the hills is not prohibited. So that type of arrangement, all type of thing. Okay, so leisure valleys and all these things. So that is how the Chandigarh typically was provided, and sector wise. And then again, the sector, like he started with the sector number 1 to 6 on the where all the ministers' houses were there, and the next row will be then again 12. Then like that, the sum of the two sectors will always be divisible by 13. That was another thing provided by them. So I mean, he didn't provide 13 number sector, but then he saw to it that the opposite, these two sectors facing, the sum of these two sectors must be divisible by 13, like 9 4, 10 13, 11 2, like that. All these will be divisible. Even further also, up to at least the first phase of this one, up to sector 47. I mean, this sort of holds good. Any question? No. Okay. So this type of all the provisions are made in in Chandigarh. Now you see the map of Chandigarh. Okay. So the on the northwestern side is the Patiali Rao, with Cedar River flow and Nalas flow that side. And then he created an artificial lake, man-made lake type on the left side. And by the side we provided the governor's house and all that. And then all the expansion of the city will take place to the southern. And then that's why, because this was the capital of two states actually, and any state would like to lay a claim on this one. So that's why they were trying to, because they were not getting, no state was getting their own portion developing into like Panchkula and the southern Mohali. this became extension of the city, but then the same pattern was. Now this is the east-west and north-south. There are two entry points of near the place of the center. Only this is also a curved type of road. Again, both the roads are curved. Why? Because one time of it Okay, so no, this road from west to east. This is a slow-moving road, and it's all the shops will be located onto the south of this road always. So this is another easy way to remember this one, and then see, and then why these should be located to the south, because they will be facing north. South will be hot, north will be again, I mean, a cool type of thing. So that's the thing. All the houses will be, shops will be provided on the southern side of this road, typically, and that's why they will be facing north and being cool and like that. So that's again law of nature one he has used for providing this type of facility. And this is again the leisure valleys through which all the walkways, bicycle tracks, and all that will be, and we are just moving in on bicycle in a leisure valley and green and nice clean. Okay, the low-lying area is made into leisure valleys. That type of thing is provided. Okay. And then see this sector is automatically divided into four parts. Sector A, B, C, D. Each section of the sector will be having a population about 1,000. So 1,000, 4,000. That was supposed to be the size of the population of this. Okay, and then every sector, the housing which I said will be very much controlled. Construction, name control, front control, height control. You cannot have a house more than 2.5 stories. That type of vision is made, and that is really being enforced. No violation so far. And that's a good thing. In any city in India, other city, they cannot control. Enforcement is very poor. So here at least they are controlling all these laws, the bylaws of the city. They are being controlled by them. And that's another good thing one can think of. So the further details, actually, when we say talk of sector, V1 comes from outside the city, like from National Highway 1, from Ambala and other side, right? That is when it enters the city, it becomes V2, line 2. That is major road of that. V3 will be the road around the sector. That is again a fast road. V4 and V5 these are the two roads which are intersecting the sector. Major two roads. So that is and then V6 will be the road which is just reaching the home, housing. That will be the last, and dead end, mostly dead end road. And further, the V7 will be the bicycle and so these are 7 different types of roads provided in India. Another view of the sector 17 is provided as the city center or downtown, where there are so far there have been no housing, only the offices, banks, and shopping and all that. All these. I don't know whether they have started housing also in this sector. Not so far it appears, because this was the plan that there will not be any house in this sector, which is the city center, and also even bus stand and everything that will be there. Okay, so whatever there is a good planning, very nice planning, because that's why it is called so far the city beautiful. Okay, in the world, actually world scene, it's called the city beautiful, because and particularly because this plan is good and nature, this thing has been taken into account, and they are being it's being reinforced. Enforcement is that is that credit to the city for that day. What they are lacking at the moment, actually 20-25 years back, I came and some lady was the commissioner, so I gave a talk here, I think, or someplace, or Institute of Engineers, and I was telling that from all angles it's very fine, but because you have not provided a public transportation properly, it is there, bus service is there, but it is not based upon the demand. Demand based routing and scheduling of the public transport system, and no, of course, metro also should have been provided, and at some major junction the flyover. That sort of plan I suggested and came in the paper that time. Okay, but then they forget. I mean that nothing was there. Even now also they have been thinking. I mean, many students from PEC, they come to me for internship. Then I tell them, okay, why don't you think of taking the project like on Chandigarh Metro, or routing and scheduling of bus service in the Chandigarh? They take it up. Then again, who will implement? So that type of thing is required. Because of this illogical planning for the bus routes and public transportation system, not many private vehicles sprung up. Two wheelers earlier and four-wheelers will now. So all these have been, then that's why it has become now congested sometime. It takes a lot of time. Reaching airport becomes very difficult. I mean, all that type of things. I think what they need to do is they must plan for at the earliest the public transportation system. Actually, they should provide actually for facilities for three different types of modes, which are called sustainable modes. What are the sustainable modes? Walking, bicycle, and public transport. And they should be well integrated. Like we are planning for, we have prepared master plan for Mumbai Metro. That is 146.5 kilometers of metro in Mumbai, and in three phases. And each phase there are three lines. Now these are slowly being implemented, metro, monorail, and all these things. And what was the premise for this, or basic principle of planning for this metro was that is no house will be more than a kilometer from the railway station, from the metro station. If that is so, it means almost the metro is coming to your house. And again, you provide a feeder system which should be sustainable mode. So city becomes really sustainable, no pollution, no like that. Okay, and electricity based type of metro planning, that also one should do that. So then when they are thinking of planning for metro here, they should think of providing, that is, they should take care of the sustainable mode, integrated multimodal mass transit system, that right from the that is a last mile connectivity particularly they have to bother about. Okay, so that sort of thing they have to provide, then only it will be possible to make the status of the city beautiful, it will remain. Otherwise it will be a problem. Okay, so that's why one wants to think of. Another city I'm talking about is Nagpur. Nagpur actually is the winter capital of Maharashtra, and this was to be improved. So I was made a chairman of a committee to develop this as a project of our beautification, electrification, and widening of Nagpur city. So with the project manager and all that, we developed it in a nice way, and the report was lying there. See, the problem normally is that you develop the project, fine, nice way, but then who will implement it? Then the reports lie, then dusting and all that. Okay, but luckily it so happened one very dynamic fellow, Dr. T. Chandrasekhar, who was the commissioner of in Mumbai, MMRDA, he was transferred there, and I knew him. And then he saw this report is lying. Why should not it be implemented? So that report was really implemented verbatim, and then the city I visited next time, total sea change, total transformation. City really become beautiful. So I think one can do that. If there's a will, one can do that is, and then of course one should not forget, as I mentioned, that enforcement is proper here, but then he was also made commissioner of Thane. Okay, so what he did was roads were narrow because encroachments and all that. In one night, maybe Friday or Friday night, I think he passed the order. All the roads will be widened to full DP width, and all the projection and the encroachments he removed overnight so that nobody will go to the court even Saturday, Sunday closed. Okay, and then all the roads became very wide overnight. So that type of thing he was, I mean, the person he was. Okay. Similarly, Mr. K.S. Rao, he was in Surat again after the flood and havoc and all that. He again widened the same way. So then, but afterward, when he moved to, I think, Nagpur, then everything came back to the same. It means enforcement. Somebody should continue to enforce, otherwise it comes to the same status. So that type of thing. So Nagpur became, which otherwise called Orange City, okay, and Green City of India again, because then I think when with this, Dr. T. Chandrasekhar, when he implemented this thing, he really became a beautiful city, really green city and beautiful city after the plan was implemented. Now this is Nagpur and all that. So everywhere you find any city, you must have a river that then becomes, because water supply, that is one. Otherwise also tourist attraction and all the thing, they become city. Okay. So, and then of course maybe Japanese have developed garden, Ambani has developed garden. So that way again added to the thing, and then it became really a good city. Thane, I said, I already told, I think I need not tell. Okay, clean city, the award also he got it when he widened this thing, all the road. Dr. T. Chandrasekhar, then city got the award from HUDCO, a clean city and like that. And bioremediation process of cleaning two main lakes. Lakes also were cleaned and all that time. But the only problem was that afterward, when he left, again everything came to the normal or increase. So that was another problem. So this is Thane city. They have been thinking of planning for circular metro city in the beginning of time, but the plan was prepared by NSRDC and but then finally it was marketed also, but no takers. That's why it's still there. And I know somebody said I will come and implement it metro within ring metro type of thing within this one, and of course main station is already there. Okay, because this was the starting point for railways in India. Thane to Java, and they started first 1853. Okay, 16 April. So that was the first city. And then they were, and it is a metro mean maybe about 20 lakh population, more than that. So one should try to improve on that is circulation, particularly in the cities, because that is a major problem. Even sometime, cities have become so congested that even if you have a car or anything, you will not feel like taking it out. That has become a problem. So one has to make the movement proper. I'm not saying for cars, I'm saying for sustainable modes. Movement of people, not of the vehicle, not for car. Okay, only buses, metros, trains like that, and bicycle and walking. These should be encouraged. These are called sustainable mode. I think in your jargon that will be.
सर फ्रॉम टीटीसी जोधपुर सर आपकी साउंड नहीं आ रही.
Is it okay now?
Yes sir, now it's okay.
Oh, very fine. Sorry, I didn't know that. Okay, that's good. Now, roadside amenities one should provide. I think, are you clear about the roadside amenities? That is, for beautification purpose of any city, you have to provide very good natural things like flowering trees, flower beds, benches, umbrellas, maybe fruit trees better, and all through the city. And then this should be barricaded that the vehicle should not go to the onto the footpath, and there could create problem like that. So movement of passenger should be encouraged, and very lively, nice, green and clean environment through leisure valleys as we are having in Chandigarh. So, and that should be encouraged, and the movement of cars, particularly unsustainable modes, that should be discouraged. There are not many other type of movement restriction of the movement of the vehicles can be taking place. So all this I am giving further. The footpaths and all that sidewalk I already explained. So these are the type of cross section of the road. Urban road typically one should provide. One can improve further, which facilities I have added. Footpath, if we, instead of 1.5 meter, it could be further maybe 2-3 meter. Okay, so that all the flowering trees and this and that, benches and all these things you can provide on the roadside. So life becomes a very nice. So arboriculture, which I have been telling quite some again and again, so that landscape of the city becomes very nice. Roadside you have to improve upon, and like that. So these are the measures I'm just indicating. One can think of this. Copy of this will be available. Maybe you can get it through the center, and then you can enjoy later. Of course, it's okay. Planning of shrubs and all that. Say why, particularly when you are moving on the road, and even if it is divided, the divider should have the shrubs and all that, and of course colorful, and then it should not be 1.2 meter that the headlight, it should be above that, so that you can't see the glare on the from other side. So that's another thing one should provide, so that the movement is not, otherwise there's a fear of getting striking the median itself. Okay, that type of thing. So these some of the principles I already explained for the landscaping, again of the typical cross section of the urban road with footpath and landscaping and all that, with the trees on either side. I think we can, one has to do innovation. Every step you must take should be an innovative step. So that what is one should ensure. Like we were doing a planning for master planning for SVNRT Surat. So I was the convener or the chairman for this purpose. Actually, they didn't have the master plan. They called us for on the planning board, some media center, library, PG hostel, girls hostel like that, and they to be planned. Then okay, then we asked, do you have master plan? No, we don't have. Then first we will prepare master plan. We started preparing master plan. We asked for the 25 years requirement of all the department, and then accordingly we will put them together and interrelating like that. Okay. Then we found that there are many, very many low-lying areas in the campus where the water will be flooding, mosquitoes will be there, problem. No, you have to use some your ingenuity or some new method or maybe something like that. So what we did was, you develop these low-lying area into some fountain, then provide on either all the side, that is a flowering, flower beds and all that, benches all around, shelters, that is umbrellas. It becomes a beautiful place to sit. This was in the students' hostel area, and they will enjoy. Earlier it was mosquito breeding thing. So one has to see the a very innovative way you have to do this thing so that beautification can be done. Okay. Always there is a problem of where from the money will come. For any good proposal, there is no dearth of money at all. I tell you, if a good proposal, no dearth of money at all. After some time, we surrender the money. We don't do any proper planning and all that. I mean, this type of thing. So this is the thing I am telling, that anywhere you have to do innovative stuff. Otherwise, also for any like China and India. I mean, countries are telling us that China and India is going to be the future economic power of the world, isn't it? What are we doing towards that? We started planning for infrastructure in a very big way from the last 15-20 years, right? You see all the express highway, road, everywhere, flyovers, this and that, airports and everything. Why we invested in infrastructure? Because we knew that infrastructure development leads to economic development. And so we thought that we'll become economic power. We will become economic power in investing in infrastructure in a big way. Fine, very fine. But shall we become economic power by doing so? Not necessary. But when we will become, everyone, every engineer, everybody must do the innovation. Every step you take, you must take an innovative step. At least every engineer must do one innovation in life at least. So that, for the sake of the country. So that is the thing. Innovation, innovation and innovation. That only will help you for the becoming a superpower, economic power, whatever you're thinking. Otherwise it's difficult. Even if you go on investing in infrastructure, it will be difficult. Yeah, this is some of the roads and all that. The Mumbai-Pune Expressway. Okay. So you think of a thing that comes. The Mumbai-Pune Expressway, we were asking loan from the World Bank. World Bank, and you know how much delay they say, okay, clear this thing, and so many things. Mr. R.C. Sinha was the managing director of MSRDC. He was really fed up. So much delay. I can't wait that much. Finally, what he said, hell with World Bank. We don't want loan from you. We'll do ourselves. And he did it. He could do that. With 108 litigations, slowly, and ultimately when he left, only 3-4 litigations were left out. How can you generate money for such a big project? You can develop a small township on one side, given the land, you can make money. That is the thing. Say, like, I had been to Dubai, and they called me for master planning for Dubai Metro. So in the municipal corporation hall, I'm sitting, all the sheikhs are sitting, they're asking. So I started with my presentation. Normally there's a dearth of money. So I said, okay, I'll tell you maybe some methods of raising funds for urban transportation infrastructure projects. When I started, I said, I thought I will tell them 13-14 methods of raising funds. They said, please sit down. When you ask a professor, please sit down like that, then I thought, what is wrong? Then I said, it means you are very rich people. No, we are not rich. Dubai people are telling. Then why did you stop me? Sir, no, we respect you, we honor you like that. But then already we have given you the project. You have come with a company who are very well known in Saudi Arabia. We have already given you the civil engineering component of the metro. But then we will not give you a single pie. You have to raise money yourself. How will they raise money? We will not come in the way. If you are constructing 15-20 story above the station or below, we will not mind, but you justify how many stories you need. If we need more money, we'll ask, okay, 4 more stories and give that money to us. I mean, this is the way. And then they did it, and they maybe within 3-4 years they constructed all this. And one station, they went 18 meters below, 3 stories they constructed, covering an area of 30,000 square meter. And if you sell that 30,000 square meter, how much money? One station. I mean, you can see why are we sleeping? Why India is sleeping like that? We can do, I mean, wonders. And below, when you go below the ground, no loss. As much land as you free of cost is available. That type of thing. I think you can go on. You have to stop a professor. Otherwise, there's no limit. Okay. Traffic management, I think, which we all the objectives and all these are there. Okay, one can learn from here all different components of the traffic management techniques. This is for enforcement, basically. Once you provide, you have to enforce it. Otherwise, again, you will be havoc without which. Circulation plan, definitely for sustainable mode, you have to provide a circulation plan proper. Okay. Traffic control signals and all that you can design and properly provide wherever required and as and when required. That is important. You delay mostly, that is the problem. Okay. And the ITS, intelligent transport system, I wish I could have shown you some examples of ITS, but then time is not that much. So okay, for safety, security, whatever problems I say, many problems are solved when you are going for ITS. Okay, the cameras and CCTV and all that. Lights also intelligent. As you enter, or automatically lights will be there. Otherwise, no. Like this is the thing. So public transportation should be encouraged. Parking facilities should be provided, but minimum. Okay, I would say that movement should be there. If you are starting from your home in a public transport with a feeder system, last mile connectivity, why you need a vehicle even? But it should be comfortable. The level of service should be really superb. Let's give something very nice to the like metro, very air conditioned sitting and all that. That type of thing we have to give. All these are the facilities. I think parking demand, traffic control devices, road sign. These are basically all the traffic type of variable message sign. See, anytime disaster occurs in the city, you should have 30-40 VMS in the city, immediately conveying the message, this road is blocked and this and that, and they should take the other route like that. That sort of thing is also required. Okay, urban signs and all that, traffic signals, street lighting. Lighting should also never proper order. Lumens are whatever specified, always less than that. Spacing, parking management. I think these are some of the things, many major practices which are there. One should follow these for different types of the cities, different types of parking, traffic management practices. Okay, so that's one. This is the thing. I thought I could give something really very. I mean, whatever I learned, I could give in a small way. Of course, maybe sometime later when I come here, maybe I can give a very detailed planning for smart cities and sustainable infrastructure. Smart, beautiful, with sustainable infrastructure. That type of topic. If somebody is interested, I'm giving a talk after this in PEC. Maybe some is interested, I can give that. Okay. With that, I thank you very much. So this is a smart city when, but I'm not giving here. You already got it, is it? Everything. So maybe this is okay, fine. Okay, thank you very much. This was my pleasure to be here, and thank you, Dr. Sharma. So maybe any questions? Yeah, welcome. I have 2-3 minutes. Any question, please? So.
Yes, it's great evening, Maida. Ma'am, do you have any query or would you like to give any feedback?
Oh yeah.
Chief Jodhpur. Chief Jodhpur. Nicole ma'am, do you have any query?
Either they have not followed or it has gone over. Is it okay? Thank you very much. If there's no question, I thought there should be question. I encourage the student normally to ask question because that becomes two-way participation. Thank you. Oh, my hard disk. Acha.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your wonderful experience. So, if you want to ask any questions, thank you, sir, for sharing your wonderful experience in various works. And he has highlighted us about city planning, citing the examples of Nagpur and Chandigarh. So he has also told us how Chandigarh was developed, keeping in mind the convenience of residents also, so that we can enjoy the maximum with the natural resources. But what was lacking is mainly, as he told, in the mode of public transport. So how this transportation system and various amenities can also be developed in future, so that there will be a sustainable mode of transport. And just like in European countries where pedestrians are given much more importance when they have to cross the roads and all. So I once again thank you, sir, for sharing all the experience, especially when you were working abroad and other places also. Thank you very much.
Next, yeah, बोल दीजिए फिर our export is on the way like for 2-3 minutes they are coming.
We will be starting our next session very shortly. Our expert is already on the way and he will be reaching here within few minutes.
सर कौन सी है? कार्बन ट्रेडिंग एंड इमर्जिंग या इंडस्ट्री?
नहीं इमर्जिंग नहीं, एक और होगा।
कार्बन क्रेडिट 1, कार्बन क्रेडिट 1। पेन पे
So I welcome you all to the next session. We have Dr. S.C. Jain. He is having a long experience both in industry as well as academics. He was working in FACT Kerala for 15 years, and then he was the head of Chemical Engineering Department, Punjab University, and at present he is Vice President of Gurukul Vidyapith. So he was working on various issues related to environmental engineering, and particularly latest he is working on various issues, how many things can be prevented before its occurrence. So that is one of the major aspects. So today he will be delivering the lecture for you on carbon credits. So I welcome you, sir, for this session.
इधर से ये चलेगा ना। Friends, I am Dr. Jain, working in the field of environment, basically being a chemical engineer and from industry and later on teaching. We have been working on the clean production technology, and in that how we can save the environment through carbon capturing and make it a profitable business. Friends, since you are all from college and polytechnic students, basically entering in a profession of industry, you might be knowing that industry being an economical concept, it is nothing but conversion of raw materials into the product desired. And in that conversion, if you simulate that block, it is something like A being converted to B plus C. Now B is your desired product, A is your raw material, and C is something which goes out because of the thermodynamic or scientific necessity, and that C may be gas, liquid or a solid, and may be going to the surroundings which we call environment, and hence environmental air pollution, water pollution and soil pollutions. This C can be a material as a material balance, or C can be energy, and energy depending on the wavelength can be thermal, noise and so on. So you have the thermal pollution, noise pollution, radioactive pollutions and so on. So all type of pollutions are there in an industry, or some of them major, some of them minors. Now when they go into the environment, they pollute the environment because their carrying capacity of the environment is being crossed. They must be affecting the health or the industrial aspect as well. Now in this subject, what I intend to say interact with you is about the fuel, because in 21st century the whole economy of a nation can be confirmed in terms of three requirements: energy requirement, transportation requirement and process requirements. Roughly 30-30 or say 60-40 ratio is there. Even when we say transport requirement, indirectly energy requirement is there. And in this, the energy comes till today is from conventional fuels, say geological fuels, coal, petroleum, oil, gas, and so on. Non-conventional energy is no doubt the route I will be discussing towards the end, but presently still lot of consumption is that of geological fuels, and primarily that coal is there. Now when this thing goes into the atmosphere, burning, because energy is the main requirement, so that C is your gas. Gas which is not desirable but is a necessity because of the scientific thermodynamic necessity. So carbon dioxide is the major one. Of course the other hydrocarbon gases, other chlorofluorocarbon gases from the process industry, they also pollute and have an impact. Now impact in the form of entrapment, what we say is a greenhouse gas effect. They warm, and lately you must see in the last December conference, there was a lot of discussion about the temperature rise of the environment and we must fix. Somewhere in the last 5 years, the first, say somewhere in 92 when this concept started, we started to have the base of the temperature of the 90 level, but that temperature we couldn't receive, it has shooted beyond that, and now in 2015 a sanction has come something higher, but we should contain at least at this level. So it is in that direction this carbon cadting concept comes, that we must conserve the fuel, and when the fuel is conserved, maybe technologically, maybe alternative fuel. So less amount of these fuel gases, flue gases will go into the atmosphere, and when they are there in the atmosphere as such, less gases means less entrapment of the energy, solar energy, and hence the temperature we will be able to retain. Now, we definitely say less fuel consumption means technological improvement or replacement of fuels. So in that direction, this concept of carbon credit in greenhouse gas market has developed significantly over the past several years. Now, this is trading, and trading is to the tune of around 250 million tons of carbon dioxide. Late in 2010, the increase is still there, and we have not been able to achieve. So potential make of profits are there if we entrap this or reduce this carbon dioxide. And when we reduce the carbon dioxide means we are reducing the fuel consumption, and hence we can trade. So how much carbon dioxide we retain? We say cause less flow. That is what we say we can trade. And where we can trade? Trade in the market through stock exchange. So agency is essential, I said. 30 to 40% our core sector is economics of the country, or its intensity is there, which we have to see. Now when population increase and all, we say energy consumption is more and all, so evolution of these gases are there. So there are three aspects have to be seen. You are just concerned in your environment, what we say is locally. Your fuel, your boiler may be there, your engine may be there, whatever you are burning, something comes out and you are just trapped in around your vicinity, what we say is a local air pollution. And it is a diffusion phenomena, so it can be, you can say, a long range. Long range means this is typical example of Taj and so on, corrosions, etc. So that is a regional, or on a global level, of course, we are concerned, and hence these summits which are taking place after 2 or 3 years every year, every time. So fossil fuel accounts for about 85%. As I said, we may be talking of non-conventional energies, but still the fossil fuels, they account for the major portions. The non-conventional energy is still a peanut as such in our setup. These are the gases which normally emits. The major share you can see is that of carbon dioxide. Here I will like to mention one thing, aspects, that carbon dioxide no doubt is the product of combustion, a byproduct of combustion you can say, because heat is our main requirement. But the other gases which I am saying, for example CFCs etc., they are process evolutions. we need. For example, in refrigeration, we might be needing some time back freon. So we will producing that freon so that something goes into the atmosphere. They are not combustion products. Chlorofluorocarbons, they are not combustion products. Combustion products are mainly carbon dioxide, to some extent partial combustion carbon monoxide, unburnt or not fully burnt like methane, or anything which contains in a coal like sulfur or nitrogen as nitrous oxide, oxides of sulfurs and so on. So major contribution from the fuel burning is carbon dioxide, to a lesser dose carbon monoxide, and nitrous oxide, oxides of sulfurs, and still to a lesser dose further the hydrocarbons like methane, ethane and so on. All others are process gases which comes from our process industry as such. Now this is the scenario in the market. 2000 mein 5900 they have all crossed, but 13,300 million tons of carbon evolution is expected in 50. We are somewhere at present itself in 21,000, 15,900 million tons of carbon. That is the target which will be coming at that. So we are somewhere in between 59 and 133. And this has to be reduced if we want the temperature to be controlled as per our conventions. Now, the majority, they believe the greenhouse, majority of the scientists have made research that this entrapment of gases is there in products of combustion. It is also in process gases. But since our energy is the main requirement and combustion is the main requirement, they made the base as carbon dioxide as one unit and studied the warming potential of all other gases. Means methane. Methane has a higher warming potential than that of carbon dioxide. So a scale has been made of warming potential with carbon dioxide as one unit and other gases compared to carbon dioxide, how much warming they make. So this table shows that standards. Now in this standards you can see carbon dioxide as one unit, but methane is 23 because it can still, it absorbs more solar energy, it doesn't reflect back and more greenhouse effect is there. The other gas like nitrogen is always there in sulfur, nitrous oxide is still higher, say 200, 300 times. And other process gases which we are making for ours, for example bleaching powder we make, freon we make, chlorofluorocarbons we make for our utility in our textile industry, in our refrigeration industry, in our tire industry and all which are essentials. You can see the potential. You can see one lesser when we say fully fluorinated species SF6, it is 22,200 times more retaining power. So they are a monsters for warming the potential as such. So carbon dioxide is not that, because carbon dioxide because of the bulk. So there is one aspect, quantity is less but warming potential is more, and another is quantity is more, warming potential is less. So average warming potential have to be taken out, but since the process gases are far less than the combustion products, so we always discuss in terms of carbon aspects of combustion product rather than these fluorinated carbons, because process we can eliminate, like freon we have just eliminated in our scenario in refrigeration, but burning is still dependent upon fossil fuels, and carbon being primarily 90, 95, 96% is carbon around that. So this cannot be eliminated, it can be reduced or it can be trapped, but it has to be there. So whatever alternative fuel may take, like liquefied petroleum, gases, CNGs, we may lower it slightly, but we cannot replace that carbon fuel for burning. That is the primary source, but we can replace our process, say, evolutions like fluorocarbons and so on. Now, this was the impact generally we read in our text also. It is a, say, observed also. You can see what it affects the human health, the water resources as such, biological diversity is there. It affects, of course, our agriculture. We see the agriculture change is there. Now, sea levels, oceans, we are seeing sinking, tidal waves and coming. These are all aspects which we are seeing. Somewhere, say, interesting thing is in 2005, say, summit was there in Delhi, which became the base for Indian scenario, which was the forecast for another 20 years or 25 years, what will happen of the effect of this carbon burning to, in that you can see it was a joint collaboration between British and Indians, fully reported in Financial Times at that time. It was discussed at Vigyan Bhavan. So India will suffer lower rice and wheat yields. We are finding it 2005, 2015, 16. Our yields have reduced. We have less wheat, say wheat and less rice grown. Then, so there is a decline in that food aspects. Coastal flooding, we have seen these tsunamis, they are tidals. They have come in these last 10 years. From 2005 to 2015, if you see this scenario, so coastal flooding is a very frequent now. More cases of malaria and longer period of drought. Malaria in any form, in epidemic forms, it is coming. Last 10 years, now we can visualize every year, it is increasing. We are checking, the health center is checking, but still it is on, say, increase. Similarly, drought periods as a result of climate change. Somewhere droughts are there, somewhere flooding is there, climatic change is there. See, in this season, still you have a snowfall, you have a rainfall. So these are all climatic changes which were predicted and discussed in 2005 and reported. And we are seeing at present in 2015 and 16, it is happening now. Now, this effect of the combustion gases on Earth had been in concerns time immemorial. But in the Ice Age, it was not felt. But in 90s, right, when the Industrial Revolution took place, more of these gases were put in, temperatures start rising, alarming has come. So 1940 war, 1940, 42, that era, lot of industrialization took place. Between 1925 to 1942, lot of industrial revolution was there in, say, England, around in Western countries. That time, lot of pumping of these flue gases have been done into the environment. And since because of the global phenomena of diffusion, temperatures started rising. And it started showing the effect on the health sector. Now, in thermodynamics, we have a system and surrounding concept. System is of our interest, surrounding is everything, fine envelope and all those definitions are there. But there is an interaction between system and surroundings. System, for example, our biological system, we produce carbon dioxide and throw. In industry, we burn the fuel and put this carbon dioxide into the surroundings. And from the surroundings, we inhale the gas and these gases come inside. So they affect the system indirectly. So our health deteriorates. For example, when you burn fuels, lot of dust is there, lot of smoke is there, lot of gases are there. They are pumped into the surroundings. And from the surrounding, when you inhale these, the dust comes, the gases comes into your system, which is a, let us say, a biological system we can first discuss. So what we do, this dust first inhale through your nose, we say nostril. Some through bronchitis, it goes to the lungs. And in the lungs, there is what we say a way, a jhilli, a cilia, where it gets filtered, deposited. and then this pure gas goes into your lungs. Now what will happen? You see a cloth, some dust you put in and take, you will shake, but lot of dust is there, it will sack. Same thing is happening here. First you have a bronchitis stuff, cough is there. When it comes to cilia, which is a beat, when lot of dust deposit on that xylem, the beat stops. Ultimately is asthma and death. This is a cause of health effect, you can say. It is from bronchitis to asthma and ultimate death from simple dust which has gone into the atmosphere and we inhaled. Similarly, gases. For example, these carbon dioxide, carbon monoxides or oxides of sulfurs, when they inhale, they go inside the body, mix with blood, and say water. Water is the main in our body. So they cause acids, corrosive acids. Our digestive system gets depressed. Our skin trouble starts coming. So these are all ill effects of that aspects. So when these types of the effect as they felt in the West, at that same West we say, let us say UK and America later and so on, then they were alarmed that something should be done. If it at this stage, this temperature goes on rising, it will affect the complete climate change. So thinking started and so many conferences then took place. The last one was in Paris in 2015. Every 3-4 years they review. Conference we say because the world leaders, because they have to promulgate and then the acts come through their parliaments and they were United Nations, UNEP programs, they regulate. Otherwise, research is going on, effects are going on, all types of persons are working. Now, in that aspects, the first conference is 1992. When serious effects were made, at that time, this conference was there, and they said a time frame sufficient to allow this system to unlock. Some time has to be fixed, so that up to 90, whatever the level is, we should maintain, and we should maintain up to what? We are making the laws, rules, its effect to contain. There should be some time frame, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 2 years, whatever they have thought at that time. So this is the way how these conferences are going, climatic change conferences are going on. Now at that stage, a lot of discussion took place in 1992. In 1992 what happened, the whole world was divided into two. One, a highly industrialized countries. For example, England was there, America was there, West was there. A lot of industry was there, lot of the pumping of these gases was there, and the other so-called undeveloped countries. Undeveloped countries which are in race, but they are not that industrialized at present. Their contribution of pumping of these gases into the environment is much lower compared to the pumping of these few gases into the environment by these developed countries. So first time a consensus was made that there should be grouping of the countries into two groups, so-called developed and undeveloped. This is not. 16 has changed. December 2015, these classifications have been removed. I will tell how. But up to 2015, this was a rigid classification of developing and developed nations. So this listing was made, documents were made, what are the countries which are, say, developed countries, which are undeveloped countries, what are the limits they are allowed in that country for the carbon dioxide, etc. to be put in, and what are the limits for that. They are all in the form of annexures in that documents. Then a dialogue, after this classification, a dialogue came and still prevalent, and it has become a base in 2015 again. That is, at that time it was thought that there should be two things. Developed countries and developing countries, everybody has a claims that I am concerned about environment. We are all equal for that. Effects are also equal on all human beings. But all are not equal in that aspects. Some are richer, some are poorer. So there is interaction. So large differences in the cost of abatement between developed and developing offers an opportunity for mutually beneficial cooperation. They should cooperate among themselves so that a balance on a global level should be made. So equality principle is on papers. We are all common in the world. Every person is common. But it is not so. Differential responsibility has to be fixed. And that differential responsibility means richer person who put in more, they have to more spend on this abatement processes compared to the other persons who is less contributing and still wants to develop. So this principle of equality and common but differential responsibility enshrined in this convention which was took place at De Janeiro at that time. Now control systems. Global instruments were then made. Instruments means laws, rules, regulations. Industrialized countries to achieve quantified targets. Quantified target means in the annexure it is given that you can so many ppm you can put in. So many ppm in that country is allowable as in the pollution board standards of that country. So industrial countries achieve quantified targets for decreasing their greenhouse emissions. So at that time a consensus was made that look, those who are industrialized, they should try to reduce this emission of greenhouse gases. How? That is a later part, but they should decrease it. So a commitment was made that you should decrease it. This enshrined into a force 2015. 92 it started, 97 has gone, but it was adopted in 2002 and executed in 2005. So these all laws of UNEP came in 2005. Different say rules were there. India was signatory to that. All countries are not in the world. All the 156 countries or 170 countries, they are not. But India was a signatory to Kyoto Protocol, which took place in that time. Now, according to this protocol, some incentives are made. They say these greenhouse gases which are being emitted by the richer persons, you can say, developed countries, they cannot decrease their production. So this greenhouse gases cannot be reduced. But a developing country which is not producing that much and acceptable at a quality level, so they can trade. I am sending less amount of gases, so I am not contributing to that. So I must be compensated for that, your excess which you have put in the developed countries. So आपने ज़्यादा किया, मैंने कम किया, तो आपको मुझे टैक्स देना ही पड़ेगा, आपको मुझे कुछ पार्टली अपनी इनकम देनी पड़ेगी, and that I will use in my development of the country. That was the balancing, what we say is a trade in greenhouse gases. Now this is the trading which took place, say up to 2010. I will coming for 15 also. So you can see the European market, they traded 27.9 metric tons, non-European 128, USA itself you can see 423. You can see excluding USA it was 172 metric tons. This was the commitment. And USA alone it having a 423 because of the higher industrialized country. So that was the target based on the national communications and commitments which they made. Now price of carbon, if we raise, setting up you can say of the market price for the carbon. I am emitting carbon into the atmosphere. At what price I should pay for my emission to the developing country? It is in terms of now trade. I am spending, let us say, 1 metric ton. I will put some price on it, whatever euro, dollars, or whatever we. And if my emission is less, they can transfer in my account that emission which they are making higher countries. It means so many dollars are open in the international trading, they will put in my market. So that is what we say is a trade. It's a very lucrative trade. I will tell you from the example of case histories we have done, because basically I am from the industrial consultancy sector. We have done major projects in carbon trading and earned euros and dollars. And some examples will give. I will give the example of even Chandigarh, which is now a solar panel we are making, and how carbon trading will help, is how many dollars will come to the Union Territory for that, for development. France is not giving a signatory as such. It is because of that trading they are making, because that trade was made in Paris, that no longer we will be equal, but we will be paying something, we will be helping you for reduction in carbons. So, हाँ जी, नहीं रिडक्शन ऐसे होगा जैसे सोलर पैनल है, एक मैंने थर्मल एनर्जी ली तो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड ज्यादा गई मेरी, ठीक है, मैंने थर्मल पैनल की जगह सोलर पैनल बना दिया तो कार्बन तो हुई नहीं एमिशंस. So I am entitled for some relief because you are using that. As I said, 85% still fossil fuels. Industrial, they have to use. So I am entitled for this compensation. अगर मैं अपने 10 मरले के मकान पर 5 किलोवाट का सोलर पैनल लगाता हूं और जनरेट करता हूं, तो ये जो 5 किलोवाट की एनर्जी अगर मैं थर्मल पावर प्लांट से लाता तो how much emission was there? That I have saved. So I must trade. They must pay me dollar or euro, whatever this, in the at that current rate, whatever is in the stock exchange at that market. Metro railways, for example, in Delhi, breaks say they had the electricity generations. The lot of saving has been done. So this is another example typical of carbon tradings. Forestation in area in Madhya Pradesh, that itself comes under that because a lot of carbon dioxide has been absorbed in that. Otherwise it would have gone and had an effect on my health. So forestation comes under that trade of carbon trading. Say some typical examples I have taken because metro, you know, from Delhi, solar system at present being talked all over and Chandigarh in particular. So these are all comes under this trading aspects. So it will provide signals to consumers about what goods and services are high carbon ones and should therefore be used sparingly. Now there are two ways. It will provide signals to producers about inputs. Which inputs? Which fuel you should use? Should we use more carbon, such as coal and oil? Or we should have one which is less and none, such as natural gas or nuclear power. You see, natural gas also have carbon, but is less polluting compared to coal, compared to petroleum. That is why I say transition to CNGs and so on coming. It is all under that aspect. And nuclear fuel, we don't have a carbon. So either we have to make a choice, more say fuels, more carbon containing fuels or less carbon containing fuels. So in that is one, and it will give a market incentive for investors. Now I thought I must have a nuclear fuel or I must have a solar fuel. So market incentive should be made to me that instead of coal I am now coming to the other use. So it will give market incentives for inventors and innovators to develop and introduce low carbon products and processes that can replace current generation of technology. So a high carbon price will economize on the information that is required to do all these three tasks. Major is replacement or lesser fuel, say carbon containing fuels, and then the technology. So these are the advantages of a tradable carbon credit. You see, always government thinks, let us tax it. There are two ways. If I am putting more carbon into the atmosphere, finance ministry in the budget may make, okay, how many units they are putting? It is taxable. Like any cess, it can be carbon cess. But what is the drawback in that? As Annie says, our balance sheets are lopsided. Greed is always there in the industry. They will make a balance sheet that way, that we are not putting anything much. So अगर उन्हें 1000 का यूनिट डालना था तो 100 का डाल देंगे, टैक्स दे दिया 100 का, वेयर 900 तो अफेक्ट कर ही रहे हैं ग्लोब को. तो टैक्सेशन इज नॉट द सॉल्यूशन in the present era, especially in these developing worlds. Greed still prevails. जो इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट है वो सेंट तो है नहीं, वो तो हर किस्म का टैक्स बचाने की कोशिश करेगा, राइट? अदरवाइज उसकी प्रोडक्ट कॉस्ट बढ़ जाएगी, कॉम्पिटिटिव मार्केट है. सो इन दैट इट मीन्स, जिसको कहते हैं थेफ्ट ऑफ दिस, चोरी, टैक्स की चोरी, इट इज नॉट ए सोल्यूशन फॉर दैट. सो एक तो था कि इसको टैक्स कर दो, दूसरा था कि इसको इंसेंटिव दे दो कि हाँ तुम बोलो कितने डालते हो और हमने आपसे लेना नहीं है. It will be transferred to the another unit which is producing less carbon. So there are two schools of thoughts. So flexible mechanism of the equitable ensures that all investments goes to the genuine sustainable carbon reduction schemes. Philosophy है genuine, but it may not be if it is a taxable. If correctly implemented, a target level of emission reduction is achieved with certainty. So tax is good straight, but tax has a loop-sided aspects because it is doubtful to implement. It is easy to assess. बैलेंस शीट है, कितना फ्यूल लगा, कितना कार्बन गया, कितना कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, चलो हो गया. होता क्या है कि एक बॉयलर है, नॉर्मली रेटेड कि हमने 50% कैपेसिटी पे चलाना, 60% पे चलाना है, नॉर्मल चल रहा है. लेकिन इंस्पेक्टर जो चला गया तो 100% पे चला करके कर दिया. व्हेन इंस्पेक्शन के 50% पे आ गया, तो टैक्स की रिडक्शन कैसे हुई? पोल्यूशन तो चलता रहा. सो दैट इज द ड्रॉबैक. अदरवाइज अकाउंटिंग के लिए टैक्स इज इजी. कितना फ्यूल लगा, थियोरेटिकल कैलकुलेशन है, कितनी कार्बन होगी, उसमें एफिशिएंसी डाल देंगे बर्निंग की, दैट्स ऑल. सो यू कैन नो हाउ मच से मनी इज टू बी पेड. बट उसकी चेक होगा जब बैलेंस पे, तो रिडक्शन के अमाउंट उस स्टैंडर्ड पे होगा. हम तो 50% पे चला रहे हैं, लेकिन चलाते तो वो 100% पे. अब हमारी फॉर एग्जांपल प्रेजेंट मेंटालिटी क्या है? कोई भी कैपेसिटी हो, आप अपना हैंड बैग ही ले लीजिए, जब बाहर जाने लगते हैं तो उसको इतना भर लेते हैं कि वो आउट ऑफ द वे जाता है. जनरल कैपेसिटी है कि ओवर कैपेसिटी पे वी विल वर्क, वी विल हैव द मैक्सिमम आउटपुट फ्रॉम ए स्मॉलर कैपेसिटी. So how we can have these reductions? So at that conference, 3 steps were made, 3 thoughts were there, all the 3 were accepted. Joint implementation कर लीजिए, international emission trading कर लीजिए, और carbon development mechanisms techniques कर लीजिए. Joint में from one industry to another, from one country in the same annexure to another annexure. International में inter country, और carbon development mechanism में for a change in technology. Anyone could have been a choice of a country at that time. India accepted Kyoto Protocol and under that accepted this CDM. So हमारे यहाँ जितनी हिंदुस्तान में होती है कार्बन ट्रेडिंग, वो अंडर क्लीन डेवलपमेंट मैकेनिज्म्स से होती है. Now in this aspect you can see हमारे टारगेट्स हैं, only I have taken carbon dioxide in this graph, not other gases. So तीनों मैकेनिज्म्स लगा करके भी हम रिड्यूस करें तो एक्चुअल जो एमिशंस होगी, जो एक्चुअल हो रही है उसमें तीनों को डाल दें, एंड जो रिमेनिंग रहेगी दैट इज टारगेट. दैट टारगेट वी हैव टू फिक्स व्हाटएवर लेवल इट इज, 90, 95, 2000, 2005, 2010, 2015. नाउ जो टारगेट बनेंगे वो हमने करने हैं. तो एक्चुअल्स तो हैं, हमने तीनों को ऐसे इंप्लीमेंट करना है, एनी वन ऑफ देम, कि टोटल क्यूमुलेटिव इफेक्ट शुड बी दैट that level should be achieved which we have thought it should be there. So this is a joint implementation process. Next year one country is in meeting. It is same. One or more investors will agree with a partner in the host country. So it is a project. आपने एक प्रोजेक्ट किया, एक इन्होंने प्रोजेक्ट किया. आपकी ज़्यादा emissions हैं, इनकी कम है, तो you can trade how much excess is. Now what is that trade instrument? I will explain. Similarly ये methodology दे रखी है, international में country wise है, joint implementation में individual countries की, individual industries की है. Clean development mechanisms जो है वो different है. इसमें क्या करेंगे? This mechanism enables the willing entities in developing world improve their environmental performances which the development world improvement in technology. एक वेस्ट में टेक्नोलॉजी है वो कर रहे हैं, हमारे यहाँ वो टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं है, बट आई वांट टू ब्रिंग दैट टेक्नोलॉजी, उससे रिडक्शन कम हो, कार्बन एमिशन कम हो. उस टेक्नोलॉजी के लिए पैसा चाहिए, कहाँ से लाएं? वेस्ट में वो उस टेक्नोलॉजी से कम तो हो रही है, लेकिन इतनी ज्यादा इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन है वहां कि इतनी ओवरडोजिंग है इन द एनवायरनमेंट ऑफ कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड कि दे हैव टू बी टैक्स्ड. अब टैक्स हम लगा नहीं सकते, तो हम कहते हैं कि आपने कितने यूनिट बचाए बिकॉज ऑफ योर से इन द डेवलपमेंट कंट्री, और आपने कितने एक्सेस यूनिट डाल दिए. वो जो एक्सेस यूनिट है वो आप डेवलपिंग कंट्री को दो, so that global level should be same. That is carbon trading. Still further I will explain. Now क्या है ये ट्रेडिंग? इसको हमने एक सर्टिफिकेट बना दिया, लाइक इंदिरा गांधी विकास पत्र, ट्रेडेबल है, बैंक में कहीं से भी है, यू कैन कैश इट, राइट. तो इसमें क्या किया कि जो एमिशन होती है कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड की, 1 मीट्रिक टन कैलकुलेट हो सकता है. 1 टन कोल होगा, कितना परसेंट कार्बन है, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड होगी, निकाल सकते हैं. तो 1 मीट्रिक टन कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड का हमने एक सर्टिफिकेट बना दिया और उसका नाम दिया सर्टिफाइड एमिशन रिडक्शन क्रेडिट. सर्टिफाइड एमिशन रिडक्शन, CER. सो ये CR सर्टिफिकेट्स हो गए, पेपर करेंसी बन गई. अब ये आपने कितने मीट्रिक टन डाला उतनी CRs हैं. नहीं, कैलकुलेशन हो सकती है. मैं कोल अगर 100 टन डालता हूं तो मुझे पता है कि कितनी कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड निकलेगी. थियोरेटिकल कैलकुलेशन है स्टैकोमेट्री, इंडस्ट्रियल कैलकुलेशंस में, सो यू कैन फाइंड आउट. सो ये जो CRs हैं दे आर डिमांडेड बाय एनेक्सर 1 पार्टीज, क्योंकि मेरी बहुत एमिशन हो रही है, मैं डाल नहीं सकता बिकॉज ऑफ द क्योटो प्रोटोकॉल. सो मैं इसको कहीं दे दूंगा, कहीं बेच दूंगा, किसी को ट्रांसफर कर दूंगा. तो डेवलपिंग इंडस्ट्रियलाइज कंट्रीज जो हैं वो डिमांड में रहते हैं. मैंने एक यहाँ इंडस्ट्री लगाई, कुछ CRs हैं, कम है, मेरी प्रोडक्शन ज्यादा हो सकती थी, मैं बहुत ज्यादा CR डाल सकता था, मैंने अभी नहीं है मेरे पास टेक्नोलॉजी, कम डाल रहा हूँ. आपका इंडस्ट्री है, बहुत ज्यादा CR डाल रहे हैं, तो आप डाल नहीं सकते. तो आप डिमांड में है कि कोई आदमी मुझे ग्लोबली मिले जो मेरे CRs को अपने यहाँ एडजस्ट कर ले. अब CR तो मनी बन गया, वो मनी मुझे वो ट्रांसफर कर देगा. कैसे करेगा? थ्रू एक्सचेंज, ग्लोबल एक्सचेंज मार्केट. तो जो ग्लोबल एक्सचेंज मार्केट ही करेगी, सर्टिफाइड मार्केट होगी, गवर्नमेंट की अप्रूव्ड होगी, फाइनेंशियल इंस्ट्रूमेंट बन गया ना ये अब, डॉलर का, यूरो का. सो दैट इज वन. सो CRs आर क्रेडिट्स एडेड टू एनेक्सचर B पार्टीज. आपका जो था वो मेरे यहाँ क्रेडिट हो गया. यू आर ए डेवलप्ड कंट्री, आई एम अंडर डेवलप्ड, you are a richer industrialist, I am a poor industrialist, you are having a more emissions, so some CRs are there extra which you cannot throw, so you will transfer in my account so that our balance remains, environmental balance remains. हाँ, तो ट्रेडिशनल हो गई. जब एक ग्लोबल लेवल हमने सेट कर दिया कि इतने कार्बन होंगे तो उसमें तो ट्रेडिशन हो गई ना. अब किस मार्केट रेट पे बेचा जाएगा वो मार्केट फोर्सेस विल टेल. I will give you one example also of case history we did here. So 3 goals of CDMs are there. To assess the achievement of sustainable development, sustainable हो गई, आप भी ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी लाओगे जिससे मोर एमिशंस ना हो, मुझे ज़्यादा देने ना पड़े CRs. मेरी भी टेंडेंसी रहेगी कि ऐसी लाओ इससे जो हमें ज़्यादा पोल्यूशन ना हो. Contribute to the attainment of environmental goals of the UNEP के पास ग्लोबल लेवल है तो उनको करना ही पड़ेगा. So assistance हो गई of between the two. कैसे? So CDM जो है हमारा clean development mechanism means fuel technology have to be changed, energy insulation कर दी, energy इंटैप कर दी, कम energy waste हुई, कहीं से कोई energy हमने generate कर ली, वो all are CDM measures. So इसमें से एक यूनिट बनाया 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide. So baseline minus actual emissions, मैंने एक टारगेट दिखाया था आपको, वो वहां से वो CERs निकलेंगे. आपको मैं फिर दिखाता हूँ. ये एक्चुअल्स मेजर्स करके हमने CDM का हमारे यहाँ कंट्री में कहीं GI होगा, कहीं ET होगा, तो ये टारगेट बना. So baseline CGM minus the actuals, that are the जो बैलेंस बचा ऊपर का वो that is CER. So measurable emission reductions of the gases with global warming potentials, they are CER. You can see now, हमने एक वार्मिंग पोटेंशियल बताया था, बेस था कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड 1 मीट्रिक टन, लेकिन हमने कहा था नॉक्स जो है वो तो 296 टाइम्स है, तो इसके CR जो होंगे 1 मीट्रिक टन नॉक्स से अगर मेरी फैक्ट्री से जाएगा तो मुझे 296 क्रेडिट्स मिल जाएंगे. हालांकि लिमिट बहुत थोड़ा होगा, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड तो बहुत ज्यादा होगी, तो लेस क्वांटिटी बट मोर CR बिकॉज ऑफ द हायर वार्मिंग पोटेंशियल. इसमें रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है? विलिंगनेस होनी चाहिए ऑफ बोथ. कैसे? I should be ready to use clean technology. I should be ready that emission reduction should be there over that baseline. Willingness is a must. जब will ही नहीं होगी तो हम क्या implement करेंगे? तो determination of baseline conditions is a must. हम कहते हैं ना ambient temperature है, ambient level है, रोज टीवी में आता है डस्ट कितना है, नॉक्स कितना है, that is our base level emissions conditions. So measurements sustainable हैं, हमें throughout daily करते हैं, हम तो over the years करते हैं, then they become the data for calculations. अब ये कौन करेंगे? In accordance with the modalities and procedures of CDM, ये एक नेशनल अथॉरिटी बनेगी. हमारे हिंदुस्तान में जो नेशनल अथॉरिटी है वो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट एंड फॉरेस्ट है, पर्यावरण दिल्ली. ऑल प्रोजेक्ट्स विल बी रेगुलेटेड थ्रू दिस एजेंसी. यही एजेंसी है जो यूएनईपी विल रिकॉग्नाइज, नो अदर एजेंसी. इट इज ए सेंट्रल सब्जेक्ट्स. हम यहाँ बनाएंगे चंडीगढ़ में, तो चंडीगढ़ का पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड इसको वेट करेगा, फॉरवर्ड करेगा, दिल्ली में जाएगा, सेंट्रल पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल करेगा, मिनिस्ट्री में जाएगा, मिनिस्ट्री से फिर यूएनईपी पे जाएगा, दे विल चेक इट. मॉनिटर हम इंडियंस करेंगे, सेंट्रल पोल्यूशन बोर्ड या अंडर द मिनिस्ट्री. नाउ सो डेजिग्नेशंस दी जाती हैं. हमारी डेजिग्नेशन हमने किस चीज को दी? डेजिग्नेटेड अथॉरिटी whose signature will value this CR. जैसे नोट के ऊपर रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया का चाहिए ना साइन, तो CR पे किसके सिग्नेचर होंगे? वो कौन सी हमारी डेजिग्नेटेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन अथॉरिटी है. सो अंडर दिस कोई लीगल अथॉरिटी, इट इज ए लीगल डॉक्यूमेंट. आपका जो रुपया का नोट है वो लीगल डॉक्यूमेंट है. नो वन कैन डिनाई दैट. जब गवर्नर के साइन हो गए या जो भी कंपिटेंट अथॉरिटी एट दैट टाइम, उसके सिग्नेचर का वो पेपर जो है ना, बाय लॉ इट इज एनफोर्समेंट, नो वन कैन रिफ्यूज इट. सो यहाँ भी वही चीज है, कि under this designated organization authority, CDM is either a domestic legal entity or an international organization. एक अपना होगा, इनफैक्ट एक उनका होगा, दोनों का होगा. It validates and subsequently requests registration of proposal. मैंने एक प्रोजेक्ट बनाया और मैं कहता हूँ कि मुझे इतने CRs दो, तो somebody will check it. Who will check it? आपने प्रोजेक्ट बना दिया, अपनी रिप्रेजेंटेशन कर दी कि इतने CR हमें मिलने चाहिए, कोई तो चेकिंग करेगा ना उसकी. तो ये अथॉरिटीज पहले इंडिया में होंगी, फिर वो इंटरनेशनल मार्केट में होंगी अंडर UNEP. वहां से जब दोनों की वेरिफिकेशन हो जाएगी, देन ओनली दो सर्टिफिकेट्स विल बी इशूड, एंड दैट इज देन ए ट्रेडेबल ऑन ए इंटरनेशनल वे थ्रू एक्सचेंज इन एनी कंट्री. दीज आर द स्टेप्स इन्वॉल्व. सबसे पहले तो आपको सब्जेक्ट प्रोजेक्ट बनाना है और आपने अपनी नेशनल अथॉरिटी को देना है. मीन्स अपना प्रोजेक्ट अपनी कंट्री को रजिस्टर कराना है कि आई एम गोइंग टू मेक दिस. फिर इसकी वैलिडेशन रजिस्ट्रेशन होगी बाय द यूनाइटेड नेशंस फ्रेमवर्क क्लाइमेटिक चेंज कमेटी, UNFCCC. इट इज एन इंटरनेशनल ऑपरेशनल आइडेंटिटी फॉर रेवेन्यूज. फिर इस प्रोजेक्ट की मॉनिटरिंग होगी इन दी होस्ट कंट्री. आपने तो कह दिया, बट होस्ट कंट्री गवर्नमेंट विल मॉनिटर इट कि हाँ ठीक है या नहीं. वो वेरीफाई करेंगे, वो सर्टिफाई करेंगे. देन ओनली दी सर्टिफाइड CERs सर्टिफिकेट्स विल बी इशूड. वो फिर आपको एक डॉक्यूमेंट आ जाएगा कि हाँ इतने CERs यू कैन क्लेम, you can sell or purchase from the market or give to the market. So project design document includes description of baseline, technology to be used, monitoring methodology to be used, and also an analysis of the environmental benefits. So base data चाहिएगा, technology चाहिएगी, और उस project के अंदर what is the project, what is the baseline data, how will you monitor, and how much is your emitting. So that is your project report. Now इसके लिए consultant normally we engage. So consultant, these are all international consultant, but in India normally we have the Tata's, TERI. चंडीगढ़ में सोलर पावर के लिए हमने टेरी लिया, मेट्रो में भी हमने दिल्ली में टेरी लिया था, आंध्रा में फॉरेस्टेशन के लिए ग्लोबल टेरी लिया था. इट इज आवर recognized, but anyone can be the consultant you can take. So here countries are permitted to trade to help to meet the emission targets. Is it clear that how we trade? हमने एक प्रोजेक्ट बनाया, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड की एमिशंस निकाली, कितने मीट्रिक टन बना, उसको बनाने के बाद हमने अपना टारगेट लेवल देखा, उससे जितना एक्सेस है we want either to sell to a person who is not emitting from that project. इसके लिए मैंने we have made a project. So project description हो गई, डिटेल हो गई, emissions हो गई. For that we need base data. कितना टेम्परेचर है, कितना हमने रखना था, कितनी एनर्जी चाहिए थी इसको मेंटेन करने के लिए. सो बेसलाइन डेटा. सो पहले प्रोजेक्ट बनाया, बेसलाइन डेटा से कंपैरिजन करके हमने हाउ मच एक्सेस कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड हैज गॉन, एंड वंस इट इज कन्वर्शन कर ली मीट्रिक टन में, और 1 मीट्रिक टन का सर्टिफिकेट बनाया CER, जिसपे एक्सेस है, he wants to transfer it to the other, तो दूसरे को जरूरत है, we must purchase. So this certificate has a value. रुपये की वैल्यू होगी, यूरो की वैल्यू होगी, डॉलर की होगी, इंटरनेशनल whatever scenario. तो it has to be exchanged through stock exchange, right? So इस सारे प्रोसेस को करने के लिए कंसल्टेंट, वो अप्रूव्ड कंसल्टेंट की लिस्ट थी. इन इंडिया वी हैव TERI at present. You can have any. So emission, it is called emission trading. Now, emission trading has different aspects. एक तो है कि मैंने कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड निकाली और थ्रो कर दी, बट आई कैन एब्जॉर्ब माई सेल्फ ऑल्सो. मैं फॉरेस्ट लगा देता हूँ तो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड उसमें भी सिंक हो गई. इसको आई हैव रिड्यूस्ड द एमिशन ऑफ कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड and has earned, it means by plantation, some CERs. जितनी कम करी मैंने, जितनी उस फॉरेस्टेशन ने कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड ले ली, कितने मीट्रिक टन ले ली, वो CER तो मेरे हुए क्योंकि मैंने फॉरेस्टेशन करी. सो इसको कहते हैं कार्बन सिंक. मीन्स कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड फ्रॉम द एटमॉस्फेयर, फ्रॉम द इंडस्ट्री हैज बीन taken by the forest. So forestation is one industry you can say at present, for in which you can earn this carbon credits. So forestation के प्लांट मध्य प्रदेश में, आंध्र प्रदेश में बहुत लगे हैं. Hectares, lakh of hectares of land and forestation has been done, and CRs have been earned. So it is, you can say, sequestered in the forest. एक्सचेंज कहाँ कहाँ से हो सकती है? एक्सचेंज चाहिए अब, ये सर्टिफिकेट है ना, दे हैव टू बी कैश्ड एंड पुट. तो ये डिफरेंट एक्सचेंजेस हैं इन द कंट्री से वर्ल्ड. कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड की एक्सचेंज यूके में है, CDM की यूरोप में है. शिकागो क्लाइमेट एक्सचेंज विच हैज अनाउंस्ड ए लाइसेंस एग्रीमेंट विद मल्टी कमोडिटी एक्सचेंज ऑफ इंडिया टू ट्रेड इन पोल्यूशन एंड इकोनॉमिक्स. हिंदुस्तान में बहुत सारे एक्सचेंज हैं, स्टॉक एक्सचेंज तो हिंदुस्तान का. तो इसको हमने जो शिकागो क्लाइमेट एक्सचेंज के साथ एक मेमोरेंडम कर रखा कि जो दे विल ऑपरेट थ्रू दिस. सो करंट प्राइस ऑफ कार्बन क्रेडिट रेंज फ्रॉम €6 to 12 पर मीट्रिक टन एट दैट टाइम. बट दिस वेरी, हर मीट्रिक टन का रेट वेरी करेगा ऑन डेली बेसिस, मंथली बेसिस, ईयरली बेसिस. जो उस टाइम की होगी वो रेट उसका एक्सचेंज पे लगेगा. Now these are the products and projects which in India we have. Renewable energy, we said, for example biomass. जितने भी plants हैं, biodiesels के, fermenters के, biogasifications के, they will be saving the fossil fuels, and hence they will be saving, earning CERs. हीट रिडक्शंस के सिस्टम्स, कहीं हीट लॉस हो रहा है, हमने इंसुलेट कर दिया. सो एनर्जी सेव करी, उतना फ्यूल बचा, एंड हेंस CERs. कोई इंप्रूवमेंट इन बर्निंग हमने कर दी, डिजाइन फर्नेस का चेंज कर दिया. Heat evolved per ton much more compared to the lower technology, वो भी CR में होंगे. और clean cool technologies, they are all CR products. Now मैं 10 एक मिनट लगे. हाँ 10 मिनट लगाएंगे.
डॉक्टर शर्मा ने तो पहला भी उनका प्रोग्राम.
हाँ, बस 10 मिनट. Now, just I tell you, since this talk primarily is for polytechnic students and college students, a case history I will let you know that by minor modifications, how you can earn the CERs and foreign exchange and can help in the industry. I had chosen this a foundry sector, small foundries, small cupolas spread over all over India. In Punjab itself, in like in Mandi Govindgarh, so many cupolas and furnaces are there. Lot of transmission of. Now what we have done, we redesigned, minor modifications we did, and a lot of saving has been done. This was the testing we did on a cupola. It is a lab testing. On the site we went and found out how much is the temperature, what is the size, what is the dust, and so on. Experimental. एक सुप्रीम कोर्ट की जजमेंट आई थी इन आगरा, 212 cupola is to be closed because they were corroding Taj Mahal. अब 212 यूनिट मथुरा के पास जो थे उनको बंद करना कितनी लॉट ऑफ अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट एंड ऑल, और वो तो एक मथुरा था. थ्रू आउट द कंट्री सो मेनी cupolas आर देयर, so how can you close? At that time they engaged us that what should be done. So we collected the data from the cupola. These were the rates, melting rate and so on, actual data. ये हमने प्रोसेस पढ़ा, उनका समझा, जो वहाँ के वर्कर ऑपरेटर्स थे कि आप मेल्ट करते हैं, मोल्ड करते हैं, पोर करते हैं, मशीनिंग करते हैं स्मॉल यूनिट्स में. इसमें पिग आयरन एंड कास्ट आयरन और हार्ड कोक इज द फ्यूल और आयरन इज टू बी मेल्टेड. क्यूपला में यही होता है, हीट करके प्रोड्यूस करके वो मेल्ट हो गया, उसकी गरारी बना लेंगे, कुछ कोई व्हील बना लेंगे एंड ऑल दैट. सो 5:1 की रेशो थी, 5 मेटल 1 कोल. हमने थोड़ी सी इसमें मॉडिफिकेशन करी और इसको 9 मेटल और 1 किलो कोल कर दिया. सो इससे 40% फ्यूल सेविंग हो गई. कहाँ 5 किलो मेटल के लिए 1 किलो कोल चाहिए था, अब 9 किलो मेटल के लिए 1 किलो कोल चाहिए, कोल की रिडक्शन हो गई. सो 40% की फ्यूल सेविंग हुई. सो ये छोटे छोटे मेथड्स फिर हमने करे, किस तरह भाई क्यूपला था, डिवाइडेड था, इसको कैसे चेंज किया, इसकी गेट कैसे करी. कन्वेंशनल थे, वो शॉवर डालते थे, उसको मैनिपुलेट किया, भाई कम डालो क्योंकि जब डालोगे एकदम धुआं निकलता है. फिर इनकी स्टेकोमीटर अमाउंट बनाई, कितना कोल और कितना आयरन चाहिए, एक्सेस ज़्यादा एयर नहीं डालनी, चिमनी का ड्राफ्ट चेंज किया, गेट चेंज किया. ये सारे करने के बाद ये 8 स्टेप्स हमने करे. तो 8 स्टेप्स करने के बाद हमने देखा कि 2.5 टन ऑफ कोक की सेविंग हुई इन 1 क्यूपला. 10,000 का रेट था उस टाइम, 40% फ्यूल सेविंग हुई. अब 40% सेविंग, यू कैन सी हाउ मच इट कैन बी. सो 4 to 6 months में ही ये रिकवरी हो गई एंड बेटर एनवायरनमेंट भी हुआ. So this was the cost analysis then on the country level, and 10 crore rupees was earned through National Productivity Council. A part of it came to the municipality of Mandi Govindgarh and cupolas were refined. So this is what we mean by carbon trading. So in India under CRs we have the windmills, biodiesel plants, cogenerations, biogas plants. Even as I said in Chandigarh, for example, solar, rooftop solar plants, they are the best for earning the CERs. You see, 1 kilowatt is about 1 lakh or 70,000-80,000 rupees. Expenses are there. But see the energy generation. So in a city like Chandigarh, which is there's a deficiency of electricity. All electricity come from either hydraulic or thermal power plants. So the thermal power plant electricity can be saved through this solar voltaic cells. This is one example, typical example, which is currently present in 2016 on a large scale. And the earlier in 2012 or 10 or even 9, metro railways, Delhi, that saved under CERs. Because in the brakes they generate the electricity and then that saved the fuels cost. So this is in a nutshell about this carbon trading. Thank you. Any quick questions?
Any query from any of the center? जैसे स्पाइडा जैसे
from University Polytechnic Jammu.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
No, thanks. Good morning, sir. Sir, this is from Jodhpur. Reply is.
आंटी आंटी से बोलिए
Uh, sir, can you hear me?
Yes.
So, what are the best substitute of CFC gases? As we know that the ACs are emitting CFC and it is harmful for environment and nature. So, can we replace CFC?
Yes, I said we are now trying to eliminate CFCs. Example I gave that of freon. You see, this carbon catering energy is regarding the burning of the fuels. CFCs are process gases in the manufacture, and we now want to eliminate that. But they are on traces, quantity is less, warming potential is more. But major pollutant is carbon burning, fossil fuels. So CFCs has to be eliminated, and we are in that process. Are you hearing me?
No, sir. If we want to substitute, then what gas we use at the what the gas we replace from
You see,
CFC replace of or which gas?
CFCs are not the combustion gases. We are talking of the combustion fuels. Combustion fuels are coal, petroleum, oil, lesser containing gases, CNGs. CFC is not. CFC, I reflected that it has a higher warming potential, but this is only a process. So process we can even eliminate or we can ignore. It is a research project. Freon has already been ignored.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Yes.
Hello,
Hello.
sir. I'm from Jodhpur. I would like to ask you a question.
Yeah.
What are the best method to capture carbon dioxide from atmosphere?
You see, capturing is one aspect. This lecture is primarily based on reduction of carbon dioxide.
Nowadays, because this
But
is more.
capturing can be done. Capturing can be done under high pressure. It can be liquefied, and that liquid gas is now being used in hospitals.
Pardon, last. Please, will you please repeat?
It can be, this can be compressed and liquefied,
Okay.
and that can be used in the hospitals as anesthetic gases.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Uh, Good morning, sir. We are from JSS. Sir, what is the value of one carbon credit?
1 metric ton of carbon dioxide is 1 carbon credit.
Okay, thank you, sir. One more question from our center.
Yes.
Morning, sir. This is again from JSS 18 Noida.
Yeah.
I wanted to, I've gone through the concept, but I wanted to ask that in case of thermal power, if we are using biogas, now biogas is coming up in big way.
Yes.
But in this case also a lot of CO2, we are throwing out actually. We are just interested in methane.
Yes.
So what is your view on this? Are we reducing the carbon or increasing by using this?
We are reducing the carbon dioxide because coal burning, if you compare by this burning of this, is certainly about 40%, one thing. And second, the carbon dioxide which gets emitted right from here on a slow level and low level is again being used on the crops and trees and forestation around.
Right, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such a nice session. Now we have our next expert with us. I invite you, sir.
हाँ जी वो कल लगा दी थी.
So which one? I guess it's methodology to upgrade.
नहीं नीचे चलिए.
Engineering.
हाँ ये
Seminar. Okay, sir.
Good morning, everybody. I'll be sharing my views on the topic environmental pollution control policy and legislation. If everything goes smoothly, I don't think there is any requirement of any legal instrument, I would say. Earlier, the focus was on profit oriented. More and more profit was an industry was looking for, and they were not conscious about the environment if by their activities environment is deteriorated. Environmental laws and policy are based on the realization of mankind of the dire physical necessity to preserve invaluable and none too easily replenishable nature's gift to man. It is an instrument to protect and improve the environment and to control or prevent any act or omission polluting or likely to pollute the environment. It was after the Stockholm Conference on Human Environment 1972 that the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974 in India came into existence. Under this act, the Central Pollution Control Board and State Pollution Control Boards were created to regulate and control pollution through issuing of permits or consent for discharging trade effluents, setting standards for emission and effluent. Likewise, the Air Act 1981, the Environmental Protection Act 1986, Environment Impact Assessment Notifications 1994 and 2006 came to protect our environment. In ancient time also, the policies to protect our environment were there. We can talk of the Kautilya's jurisprudence. It states that state were to maintain the forests, selling of trees were governed by the states. Similarly, if someone is damaging forest produce, the ruler shall exploit timber forest and elephant forest, forest reserve for wild animals. On the border of the country, animal forests shall be established. Protection to wildlife for carrying injury to them in other ways, the fine for physical injury shall be imposed. Similarly, fee for hunting of those whose killing is permitted and who are not protected in enclosures, the superintendent of slaughterhouse shall receive 1/6 share of the fishes and bird in addition to his duty. In our constitution also there is a provision, and we have to protect the environment. To protect and improve the environment is a constitutional mandate. It is a commitment for a country wedded to the ideas of welfare state. The Indian Constitution contains specific provisions for environmental protection under the chapter of directive principles of state policy and fundamental duties. First, we talk of directive principles of state policies. The directive principles of state policies were therefore added to the Constitution to improve the condition of the people and to bring in progress. These are called directive principles because they are meant to be directives to the governments at all levels in India, like we have municipalities, municipal corporations, like other government agencies. It is the duty of every government of India to apply these directive principles in the making of laws. These principles help the government to make social and economic reform in the country. These principles, if put into practice by our government, can improve our life in every sphere. In Constitution we have various articles which by which there is a provision to protect our environment. First, we talk of fundamental rights. The Honorable Supreme Court in several cases interpreted the right to life and personal liberty include the right to a wholesome environment. Article 47 defines duty of a state to raise the level of nutrition and the standard of living and to improve public health. Similarly, for Article 48A, it declares the state shall endeavor to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forest and wildlife of the country. Article 51A G, to protect and improve the natural environment including forests, lakes, rivers and wildlife, and to have compassion for living creation. Similarly, Article 246, it divides the subject areas of legislation between the union and the states. The concurrent list, that is list 3rd, under which both union and states can legislate, includes forest, protection of wildlife, mines and minerals development not covered in the union list, population control and factories. Article 253 suggests Parliament has the power to legislate on all matters linked to the preservation of natural resources. The Air Act and Environment confirm this, Environment Act. Similarly, Article 14 The state shall not deny to any person equality before the law or the equal protection of the law within the territory of India. Article 19(1). All citizens shall have the right to practice and profession or to carry on any occupation, trade or business. Courts will need to balance environmental interest with the fundamental right to carry on any occupation, trade or business. Article 21. No person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to procedure established by law. We have Ministry of Environment and Forest. The Ministry of Environment and Forest is the central agency for planning, promoting and coordinating environmental programs apart from policy formulations. The Ministry of Environment and Forest was established. The government of the then Indian Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi recognized the deficiencies and created in 1985 the Ministry of Environment and Forest. The Ministry of Environment and Forest was more comprehensive and institutionalized and had a union minister and minister of state, two political positions answering directly to the Prime Minister. In 1981, the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act was passed, and in 1986, the Parliament passed the Environment Protection Act, designed to act as umbrella legislation of the environment. The responsibility entrusted to administer the new legislation also fell to the Union and State Pollution Control Board. In December 1993, the Ministry of Environment and Forest completed its Environmental Action Plan to integrate environmental considerations into developmental strategies, which, among other priorities, included industrial pollution reduction. In principle, though the Ministry of Environment and Forest was already actively pursuing pollution abatement and prevention policies. Among the strategies employed by the Ministry of Environment and Forest was the implementation of a polluter pays principle. Here I would like to add that polluter pays principle means the one who is polluting our environment, he has to be made responsible for restoring the original ecosystem, and he will have to pay for it. The Ministry of Environment and Forest imposed significant increases in its water cess, increasing it sixfold from earlier 1992. Since then, the Ministry of Environment and Forest has decided to increase the water cess again, since the charges were still well below the current effluent treatment cost. The Ministry of Environment and Forest also decided to shift from concentration to load-based standards. This would add to a polluter's cost and remove incentives to dilute effluent by adding water and strengthen incentives for adoption of cleaner technologies. In January 1994, the Union government introduced new restrictions and prohibitions on the expansion and or modernization of any activity or new project unless an environmental clearance is granted. Projects must, for example, submit an environmental impact assessment and environmental management plan for getting the clearance. The industry sector and the size of the project determine whether the Ministry of Environment and Forest or the state government has jurisdiction in assessing the EIA. Law of tort on public and private nuisance. Polluter may also be liable to tort for causing private and public nuisance sending deleterious substance like gas, smoke or filth on the property of another person in private nuisance. A civil action can also lie for public nuisance in those circumstances in which criminal actions under section 268 of IPC can be taken. Indian Easement Act 1882 section 28 deals with the prescriptive right to pollute air or water and provides the extent of the prospective right to pollute air or water is the extent of the pollution at the commencement of the period of user on completion of the Municipalities Act. This act prescribes the duties of local bodies in this regard. Factories Act 1948, this is welfare legislation framed with the object of securing health, safety and welfare of the industrial workers under section 12 of the Act provides effective arrangement for the disposal of waste and effluents. The Indian Ports Act 1908, section 21 of the Act prohibits the throwing of ballast or rubbish or any other things likely to form a bank or shore detrimental to navigation. The Indian Ports Act regulates water pollution by oil also. The Indian Fisheries Act 1897, section 5 of the Indian Fisheries Act provides that if any person puts any poison, lime or noxious material into any water with an intent thereby to catch or destroy any fish, he shall be punishable with imprisonment which may. The Indian Forest Act 1927, the Act contains provisions for prevention of land pollution by deforestation. The state government have been empowered to make rules for protection and conservation of forests. A special legislation to prevent and control pollution. The deepest doctrine roots of environmental law are found in the common law principles of nuisance. It may be caused through escape of wastewater, filthy liquids or substances, smoke, fumes, gases, noise, heat, vibrations, electricity, disease, bacteria, etc. India enacted the special legislation environmental problem reflecting fuller effect to the resolution of the Stockholm Conference. The Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. This comprehensive piece of legislation was passed under Article 252 of the Constitution, mainly with the object of prevention and control of water pollution. The Act contemplates establishment of one Central Pollution Control Board. The penalties against the pollutant vary from rigorous imprisonment for 6 months or 6 years. 6 months to 6 years. Then our Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act came in the year 1981. This act was intended to achieve effective control over the pollution caused by various reasons. The Act contemplates establishment of the central and state boards rested with wide power to enable them to devise means to improve the quality of air and to prevent, control or abate pollution in the country. The Act is visualized as a measure to implement some of the decisions taken at the UN Conference on Human Environment held at Stockholm in June 1972 to take appropriate step for the prevention of the natural resources of the earth. Section 39 of the Act provides for penalty for violation of the provisions of the Act, which may extend to a fine of rupees 5,000 with an additional fine which may extend to rupees 100 per day. The contravention if the contravention continues. The Environmental Protection Act came in the 1986. One of the most noted legislation passed in the wake of Bhopal tragedy in order to cover the areas not covered by other laws regarding Environmental Protection Act 1986. It aims at checking the environmental hazards, especially connected with the manufacturing and handling of dangerous substances. This is said to be a more effective and bold measures to fight the problems of pollution as compared to all the previous laws in this regard. Provision of Indian Penal Code. A person is guilty of a public nuisance who does any act or is guilty of an illegal omission which causes any common injury, danger or annoyance to the public or to the people in the general who dwell or occupy property in the vicinity, or which must necessarily cause injury, obstructions, danger or annoyance to persons who may have occasions to use any public right. A common nuisance is not excused on the ground that it causes some convenience or advantage. Provision of Criminal Procedure Code. Whenever a district magistrate or a subdivisional magistrate or any other executive magistrate is specially empowered in this behalf by the state government on receiving any complaint. Provision of the Factories Act. Interpretation is in this act, unless there is anything repugnant in the subject or context. Hazardous process means any process or activity in relation to an industry specified in the first schedule where, unless special care is taken, raw material used therein or the intermediate of finished product, byproduct, waste or effluent thereof would cause material impairment to the health of the person engaged in or connected therewith, or result in the pollution of the general environment. 7A. General duties of the occupier. Even occupier shall ensure, so far as reasonably practicable, the health, safety and welfare of the workers while they are at work in the factory. Hazardous Waste Management and Handling Rules 1989. This speaks about to regulate the special waste generation, disposal and input and treatment. Main feature of this act, these rules are: a list of 44 processes has been listed out which generate hazardous waste. 89 type of waste have been listed based on concentrated limits. Every occupier generating hazardous waste and having a facility for collection, reception, treatment, transport, storage and disposal of such waste has to obtain authorization from State Board. Manufacture, Storage and Input of Hazardous Chemical Rule 1989. Purpose: to reduce hazard from the handling and accident related with hazardous chemicals. Any chemical which specifies the criteria as laid down in the schedule is termed as hazardous chemical. No authority mentioned in schedule with legal packing. Safety report, preparation of safety report to carry out safety audit with the help of an expert not associated with industrial activity. Then we have chemical accident emergency planning prepared and response rules 1996. Purpose is emergency response to accident involving or sudden or unintended occurrence while handling any hazardous chemical resulting in continuous, intermittent or repeated exposure to death, injury to any person or damage to any property, excluding an accident by reasons only of war or radioactivity. Public Liability Insurance Act 1991 purpose is for providing immediate relief to the persons affected by accidents occurring. Owner is liable to provide relief where death or injury to any person. Then we have National Environmental Tribunal Act 1995 for strict liability for damages arising out of any accident occurring while handling and hazardous substance, for the establishment of National Environmental Tribunal for effective and expeditious disposal of cases. Then we have National Environment Appellate Authority Act 1997. Purpose is to hear appeals with respect to restrictions of areas in which any industry's operation or process or class of industries operations. Establishment of environmental code. The polluter pays principle has been held to be sound principle by the court. This principle means that the absolute liability for harm to the environment extend not only to compensate the victims of population but also the sort of restoration the environmental degradation. I would like to give a example on this principle. In Manali area about 15 years back, one influential person had changed the course of the river flowing there for construction of motels. In that case, the Honorable Supreme Court decided that the person who has changed the natural ecosystem, he is made responsible and the fine was imposed on him, and he was to restore the original ecology of the area. So like that, many other cases also honorable courts have decided to restore the ecology of the natural ecology. On March 17, 1997, the Government of India passed a bill for setting up a National Environmental Appellate Authority. The bill seeks to speedy dispose of environment-related cases. The National Green Tribunal has been established on 18/10/2010 under the National Green Tribunal Act 2010 for effective and expeditious disposal of cases related to environmental protection and conservation of forest and other natural resources, including enforcement of any legal right relating to environment and giving relief and compensation for damages to persons and property and for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. It is a specialized body equipped with the necessary expertise to handle environmental dispute involving multidisciplinary issues. The tribunal shall not be bound by the procedure laid down under the Code of Civil Procedure 1908, but shall be guided by principles of natural justice. The tribunal's dedicated jurisdiction in environment matters shall provide speedy environmental justice and help reduce the burden of litigation in the higher courts. The tribunal is mandated to make and endeavor for disposal of applications or appeals finally within 6 months of filing of the same. Initially, the National Green Tribunal is proposed to be set up at 5 places of sittings and will follow circuit procedure for making itself more accessible. New Delhi is the principal place of sitting of the tribunal, and Bhopal, Pune, Calcutta and Chennai shall be the other 4 places of sitting of the tribunal. We can have few case studies to have a fair idea about how the policies and acts can help in protecting our environment. First, Chaitanya pulverizing industry versus the case number is AIR 1987 KAR 82. Fact of the case is the petitioner, a small scale industry owner carrying on the business of pulverizing dolomite stone, filed a petition challenging the order of the Karnataka State Pollution Control Board dated December 1985, by which is prohibited from operating the industry and directed to obtain clearance certificate before establishing the same in any other place. The issue was he was already in that business, and suddenly the Karnataka State Pollution Board came with a order that you have to take the permission. So that order he challenged in the court of law. As the petitioner did not obtain the required consent of the board, an inspection by the regional officer was ordered to assess the standard of emission from his industrial plant. The effect of the declaration was that the area where the petitioner's industry is situated comes under Air Pollution Control Area Section 21(2) of the Act, requires the existing industries owners to apply for an obtained a consent. Observation of the court. The Karnataka High Court observed the object of the Act is prevention, control and abatement of air pollution. Keeping in view these objects, the Act has provided for measures which are preventive in nature in the cases of industries to be established, and in the case of industries already established, it insists on obtaining consent of board, making the industry amenable to the administrative control of the board. The second case we can take up rural litigation and entitlement Kendra Dehradun versus the state of UP. The fact of the case is in July 1983, representative of the rural litigation and entitlement Kendra Dehradun wrote to the Supreme Court alleging the illegal limestone quarrying in the Mussoorie Dehradun region was devastating the fragile ecosystem in the area. The court treated the letter as a writ petition under Article 32 of the Constitution with notice to the government and the collector of Dehradun. The case developed into a complex litigation as lessees more than 100 mines joined action for continuation of mining in the region. They were already given the permission, they had obtained the permission, mining rights were given, but at the same time the ecosystem was deteriorating in that area. The question in this case was that when mining rights were already given to the lessees by the government and on condition laid down under a specific law, can the court intervene on the ground that the mining activities cause ecological disturbance and violate the rights of the people to live? Court further, the observation of Honorable Court was, according to the court, the hardship caused to the lessees is a price that has to be paid for protection and safeguarding the right of the people to live in healthy environment with minimal disturbance of ecological balance and without avoidable hazard to them and to their cattle, homes, etc. And under affection of air, water and environment. The decision of the court was in 1988. The court directed that all mines in the Dehradun Valley remain closed except 3 operations. The court concluded that continuous mining in the valley violated the Forest Conservation Act. The court issued orders to restore the valley. The third case we can have Kindri Devi versus State of Himachal Pradesh. The petitioner alleged in the petition a social action litigation that the unscientific and uncontrollable quarrying of the limestone has caused damage to the Shivalik hills and imposing danger to the ecology, environment and inhabitants of that area. The Honorable Court concluded that the government evolves a long-term plan based on a scientific study with a view to regulating the exploitation of the minerals in the state without detriment to the natural resources, environment and the local population. The court will issue appropriate writs, orders and directions, including the directions as to closure of the mines and the total prohibition of the grant of the renewal of mining leases. The court asked the state government to set up a committee to examine the issues of properly granting of mining leases and the necessity of granting lease keeping in view the protection of the environment. Though there are acts, rules, legal instruments we have, but still the same are not being implemented properly, and there are some lacunas. The bonus policy for industries who do not pollute does not exist, though there is a ban on use of polythene bags, but still the use of polythene second quality bags has not been completely stopped. Practice of distribution of garbage bags from the municipality is not practiced. Municipalities are not taking the waste daily basis from the Dhalao to the sanitary landfills. Similarly, the sanitary landfills are not properly managed, and as such they are causing soil and groundwater pollution. Of course, there is always a scope for improvement. To introduce compulsory the study environment at school level, to set up environmental courts on regional basis, we may call them green benches, to fight the threat to nature and the environment by adopting a twofold strategies with preventive and regulatory, and this is possible only when the people come together to save the mother earth from degradation. The need is that everybody has to be conscious about our mother earth and our ecosystem. If our environment is polluted, even the survival of mankind will be very difficult. Ban on use of polythene bags completely, supply of jute bags and paper bags, instructions of effluent treatment plant in each industry from government side, and expenses to be charged from the factory owner. Further, surprise check on the same should be done by government officials. Looking at the present situation and working attitude of workers in government setup, and in view of so many labor unions, it is proposed to give the contract of cleaning of public places, street market, hospitals, offices and school colleges to the private bodies. We can have service providers. Disposal of porters on environment at public places, distribute garbage bags to the residents and shopkeepers. Finally, we can conclude. It is apparent that in the early years after independence, environment protection did not receive attention, though awareness was there. The government agencies are armed with enough legal and executive powers to intervene when necessary. The duties of citizens are spelled out in unambiguous language. The need of the hour is for consciousness and awareness for harmonizing population dynamics and social economic development and harnessing of natural resources with due care to see that quality of the environment is not deteriorated. Despite plethora of environmental legislation, the degradation of environment continues. This may be perhaps the implementation of various environmental laws is not proper. Hence, the need of the hour is to create awareness among the citizens and comply with the policies and regulations to control pollution sincerely. Green business entrepreneurship to be promoted. Awareness among the consumers for purchasing only products that are produced from the factories adopted EMS system need to be popularized. If any question, please.
Good afternoon, sir.
Anji, good afternoon.
Sir, can you tell me some acts related with noise pollution and biodiversity
Yes,
and their selling features?
Definitely, for about noise we have legislation. Noise protection rules are there. We cannot blow we cannot blow horn near academic institutions, hospitals, like that. In night also there is a restrictions on creating noise.
And sir, acts related with biodiversity conservation?
It is also there, but I could not cover due to time constraint. I could not cover in my lecture, but it is there.
Sir, what are the penalties for Fisheries Act?
Penalty is there that if someone throws some noxious substance in the river, he can be penalized. The detail of the acts are there,
Sir,
that act. But provision is there definitely.
sir, in term of fine, any idea? In term of fine.
No, provision is there, but details we will have to see.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other question, please?
Sir,
Yes. हाँ जी बोलिए.
Sir, there is one question from Government Polytechnic Hisar.
what is difference? Difference between weather and environment?
Sir, what is the difference between weather and environment? Can you please throw some light on it?
Environment is our, we are sitting in a room, the surroundings we are living in is called environment, and weather, we can say the atmosphere, the wind is blowing, part of the weather, a temperature, sunlight.
Rain, etc.
Yes.
See.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other question, please?
हाँ थैंक्स मैं सर को एक मिनट नहीं वो भरा दिया ना आपको डिपार्टमेंट में फिल कर दिया ना डिपार्टमेंट मैं आके भी पूछ लूंगी जाके ना अच्छा सर एक अच्छा
बहुत टाइम लगेगा फिर मेरे को और भी काम है ना कॉलेज में भी जाना
अच्छा Thank you, sir, for giving a lecture on environmental legislation. Although all of us are aware that environment should not be polluted, but there are various acts to prevent the pollution of environment, whether it is related to water, air, or noise. And Kitoli sir has given a brief description about all these acts, and he has highlighted the case studies also, how these acts have been implemented to prevent the pollution, by highlighting the case studies in nearby areas also. So I thank you very much for giving a wonderful lecture on this topic. So thank you. Sir, का ये परानी report
So friends, good afternoon, and now we have come to the concluding session. And for this concluding session in this studio, we are having with us Dr. R.K. Katolia, who is, I think already he has been introduced to you. He has taken 2 sessions on different topics, and with me is Jyoti also. She is in our civil engineering department, and now I think we had about daily about 10 or we can say over 15 sessions on different topics, regarding we started with our what are the issues of sustainability in environment for sustainable development, and then we had discussed water sustainability, then how to manage our air for better sustainability so as to control global warming and these greenhouse gases, etc. Then we had a session on I think how to have our make the cities sustainable. Then what are the various issues with respect to impact assessment and legislation, and then solid waste management, and those are the issues which we had. And they were discussed during the program. So I hope that the various deliberations which you had with our experts, they must have been very useful, and I understand that we had a very interactive sessions, because whenever I found that we were having good questions and good question answer session at the end of the program. So I hope that you all must have benefited from this program. And now, before we hand over, come to you, and we will like to wind up as early as possible. But in any case, I will request all of you to send me the list of the participants along with your feedback performer and your expenditure bill, etc. So you can that I think you have to send the expenditure receipts, you have to send in the original, and otherwise you can send me the mails and all that. So that is what. Now we can go to yeah, JCIT Nyota. If you have got any question from us, but I think you can wind up the program at your level. Yeah, what you wanted to say.
Sir, I am Dr. Toli Verma, local deputy coordinator of the program. Thank you very much, sir, for giving the opportunity to conduct this program. We also take the opportunity to thank all the experts who have delivered lectures at NITTTR Chandigarh. The program was quite interesting and touched various aspects related to the environment. It has motivated our participants to look into the new horizons of environmental problems and their solutions. So we are having our chief guest with us. He would also like to speak something with respect to the environment.
I am Professor O.N. Pandey, overall coordinator of Nodal Center here at JSS 18 Noida. Our chief guest is Mr. Vivek Mudgal, who is CEO of Inborn Systems Private Limited, which develops mobile-centric products for its customers. He is also an avid trekker and spends his free time understanding environmental changes, especially in Himalayas, and its social and economic impact on society in general. Vivek has around 20 plus years of rich experience in product and technology development involving multimedia, embedded systems, telecommunication, networking, and applications. He brings in a mixed experience of large organizations, startup companies, research, and academics, which allows him to think differently. He not only provides leadership, his strategic thinking on technology and business evolution, especially in developing economies like India. He also contributes heavily towards the strategy, architecture, and engineering products and end-to-end solutions. He is very strong technical leader with extraordinary execution skills. He has also worked with companies like Alcatel, Lucent, Microsoft, Neomagic, and academic institutes like IIT Kanpur. Vivek has a PhD and bachelor's degree from Department of Electrical Engineering, Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. I request Mr. Vivek Mudgal to say a few words on the environment.
I would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to speak to this object carefully. Environment is critical. It's not like you people would have had very interesting discussions in last 3 days, but it's not just about discussion. It is, and not just about engineers focusing on environment, engineers focusing on environment. It is the responsibility of every individual to understand environment and correct it. So first of all, like I don't have this environment engineering background to contribute much from that direction, but I would like to share some of the things which I have observed in my years. So first, to provide solutions, good solutions to managing the environment, we must understand what the environment problems are. So I would like to share 3 observations which I have made in my lifetime of environment impact. There's a place called Chopta in Himalaya. You would have known about Kedarnath and Badrinath. So between Kedarnath and Badrinath, there is a wildlife sanctuary, Kedarnath Wildlife Sanctuary. But this is Chopta. I don't know how many of you have traveled that place. I've been in that area. So I gone there in 1997, recommended by a friend of mine. And in that place, every afternoon there used to be rain. That was in summer. That was because there would be evaporations happening on the snow mountain and leading to rain in the afternoon. I again went there in 2011. And over the years, I was observing the rains in that area are less. And I stayed there for 3 days, and there was no rain. And how things happen, like so when I was in 1997, in that area, like when people came to that I provided,
बैंक की डिटेल मैंने मैडम
पैन
कार्ड नंबर.
So I came to know that one of my seniors from IT, he was camping there for 4 or 5 years, and he had educated all the panchayats to conserve environment. We had stopped any cutting of trees, and that community, the panchayat community itself, got a case in I go to stop the construction of a Rawar Mandal Class Nigam guest house, and they won the camp. So that is how. In 2001, this person he collapsed from a staircase, and thereafter the environmental degradation, resulting in this terrible strike. So all the forests that used to be completely green is now being tried. Similarly, so in the same trip, I was in Kedarnath, and you people must have heard of Surabari Tal or Gandhi Sarovar from the 2013 incident. Right? How many of you have heard it? Okay. So just behind Kedarnath temple, there is this Gandhi Sarovar. So when I was there in 1997, this Gandhi Sarovar was completely full up to the top. Then in 2011, so while returning back from there, I stopped by at a generator which was supplying power to Kedarnath temple, and I was talking to the engineer there. So what has happened? So so he told me, just see the number of generators running in the Kedarnath city. That was not a flow, like man created body, and that is what it is. The outcome was that when you stay with nature, when you don't take care of nature, nature takes care of you. That is what it did in between. So all of us have to think of how to manage. And that is where I'll just share very briefly a interesting product that we have worked on. But one of my customers, they have a glass which can be filtered by applying current. So they have That is, you can change the color. If there is a sunlight, you can darken it, and if there is no sunlight, you can clear it. Getting that. So this is a product today which is running in around 200 sites in India. And the whole system is centrally controlled, and we take inputs from the power conservation in the building, etc. And based on that, this is intelligent decisions are made. So that is how ICT can help in conserving energy and a lot of other things that we could have discussed, and that is why I would like to continue talking. Thank you.
So thank you very much, sir. I think you have given good examples with respect to your Kedarnath and your experiences from Himalaya region. Now we can go to our next center at TTC Jodhpur. TTC Jodhpur.
Sir, are you able to hear us?
Yes, please.
Actually, our video, we are not getting the videos from your side. It's totally blank out here.
Oh.
So, can you please check out from there?
Yes, the video is going from this side. We are able to. We are very clearly basically having very clear view of all of you. Actually, yeah, we are seeing you.
Okay, sir. Respected all distinguished guests at different centers and all the participants. Environment is the present day issue, and we are highly grateful to NITTTRCHDNEW Chandigarh for organizing such important issue, for on this important issue. This is a present day demand, and everyone should be aware that how can we protect our environment. So thank you very much. Our Joint Director, Sri D.S. Yadav, he wanted to come for this valediction, but due to some engagement, he was not able to. Anyway, thanks a lot. Thanks again to NITTTRCHDNEW for this.
Thank you, Mohil Sahab. Thank you, Mohil Sahab. We are having always very good support from your side. And I think we tried this time having a one program, your session also. That was a very good one and effective one. So in future, I think we will bothering you again and again. Your Jodhpur is having very good facility and very good experts. So we will be joining more in future. Thank you very much and again welcome. Then I think now we can move to Jeet Jodhpur.
We are very thankful to NITTTRCHDNEW for organizing this program. And the knowledge I see from the program is very wide. You cover all the aspects of environment. This particular aspect of environmental management is very important. From Dr. Paul, but Dr. Mali, this position is there. I hope the program integrates the research. Already some energy is involved in the environmental research. So I think it will promote the research. Thank you again for organizing the wonderful program.
Good afternoon, sir. I am also from Deep Sciences here. Actually, I put on the wall my new ready to analyze the equipment for using these as model center for organizing this SPPD. Program is the teaching and research mechanism in the institute and also to other curriculum of those. I especially mentioned that part of institute and engineering department, but these lectures do a lot of help in our teaching. We are very thankful to you and also hope that you will continue supporting us like this in the future also. Thank you once again.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we will be having more such associations or more programs will be conducted in future also. So thank you very much for your feedback. Now next we can go to Please, sir. JC Jaipur. Maybe then we can go. Nobody is there. Most probably we can go to. Okay, okay, yes. Yeah, yeah. Please, please. Yeah. Please, JC Jaipur. If you wanted to say something, yeah. If you wanted to say something, please. Otherwise, we can go ahead. Yeah. We can come back to you after some time. JC Jaipur. JC Jaipur, आप सुन रहे हैं?
बोल रहे हैं हाँ सर बोलिए हो गया अपना नंबर क्या है दोनों बंद करेंगे जब हेलो हेलो
यस सर बोलिए हेलो यस सर यू आर ऑडिबल बोलिए
हेलो हाँ अच्छा मैं आप कौन सा साल पूछ लीजिए
मैडम को जैसे को बोलेंगे ना दोबारा आपसे बात की
कौन सा साल
कौन सा साल में अभी बोलेंगे आप इसके आगे आओ आप इधर बैठो यार अब इधर बैठ तो सकते हो
हाँ गवर्नमेंट पॉलिटेक्निक हिसार
Hello,
Yes,
sir.
ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sir, it was a very fruitful session and we enjoyed a lot. And sir, one requirement is there from all the participants here.
Yeah.
Sir, they want soft copies of the presentations which were during this training.
Okay,
Sir,
we will mail it to your mail address what you have given. So we will mail it on that. But not today, but from Monday.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Otherwise, these all lectures are available on YouTube also, as you know, they are available. But we will send you the source copies. No?
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Right, please. University Polytechnic Jammu. हाँ जी या आपको हम देख रहे हैं.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, the whole program was very good for us. We feel it was our privilege to be a part here of the program. Sir, in future we also want to be the part of your programs.
हाँ जी.
Sir, the whole program was very good.
Yeah.
And we feel privileged to be the part of this program. Sir, we are looking forward in future to be the part of this program, your programs, and we feel proud to be your students. We are your students also.
I know. We are very thing. Yeah. Okay. So it's a good.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving us the chance to be the part of this program.
That's good. We will be having more such program whenever we are getting opportunity to join you. We join with you, so we will be definitely basically joining hands together, and we'll be conducting more such programs in future also. So thank you very much. And I think you can also we were discussing about this details how you will send it. So I will send that details on Monday. That how you can what are the expenditure basically involved and how we can what you have to send that to us as a receipts. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. JC Jaipur or JC Jaipur, if anybody is there. Yeah. Yes.
A very educative program.
Okay, ma'am.
And
Yeah.
thank you very much because it was dedicated to all the branches. That's why the program was very good. And we hope for the same programs in future also.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Right, ma'am. Thank you very much. So I think we had a very fruitful 5 days, and I found that okay at all the centers participants, they were very interactive and they have been sitting throughout the sessions. So maybe in future also, because this is such an upcoming area, that environment and sustainability, how to manage our development activities for sustainability. So maybe in the, because, and this is an interdisciplinary area where I think everybody can contribute. So responsibility is basically that all of us have to contribute what we can do for the environment. And so from that point of view, I think that was why it was an interdisciplinary nature, and most probably we have taken care of various issues related to environment. So as from your feedback, I understand that it was a very fruitful discussions. So no doubt we had tried to have good experts, whosoever we could get. So most probably maybe if we keep the topics title same, but our we try to improve ourselves further also, and maybe what are the other recent issues which may not have been able to cover, so we will cover even on next program whenever it is conducted in the next financial year. So thank you very much at all the centers. So hope you see you again in some other program. Thanks a lot.